What's good, everyone? What's good? Um, thank y'all for coming out. Uh, Lawrence is grabbing himself some tea, but we'll get this panel going here. Thank y'all for coming out. Zero, what's good? What's good? Thank you, woman of the past. Eustace Familiar, of course, Lawrence. Um, new, yet special people in the building. You wow, Sir Abadayu, good. Greetings. So, my guy, what's up? Jay Wolf. Salute to everyone. Um, I'll get this panel going here in a minute, but I guess while I got y'all here, I guess I'll go back over it again. The lesson earlier, the script topic earlier was, why you can't serve two masters, and went to Matthew chapter 6, verses 22 through 24 to show why you can't do that. Where it talks about the eye is the lamp of the body. So basically, what your perspective is on is going to show, exactly what you're going to do, and how you have people who sit on the fence. They can't. How when you have people that are trying to be fence sitters, you can't really in the end, because what your perception is on is going to show in what you do. So their side will be chosen for you, whether you want to or not. It will be chosen for you, regardless of it. So those lines will be drawn, and you can't sit in the middle forever trying to appease both sides. Someone's going to choose that side for you, and somebody's going to let you know, hey, look, you're an enemy. It may not be a warning shot. It may just be the shot to let you know that, hey, we ain't cool. Don't fool with you. You are an enemy of what I'm trying to do. And thank you, Eustace Familiar. I just try like I said, I wanted to bring out the logical and practical aspects that all these stories they have in there, that these teachings that can be taught, that can be grasped and actually applied to our everyday life. I know what you see in the church that's pretty much largely manipulated and ran by the government. How it's the message, it's not on that. It's more emotional. I don't focus on all the magical stuff I can't explain or have no that I can't apply. So for me, those things don't matter. But what I can do, matters. The things that it shows me what I can do to affect how I can change my mind and my own perceptions to apply these necessary tools and thought patterns to apply them accurately to give me good outturns and to eliminate people that don't have those shared interests and goals. That way, they can go their way and I can go mine. I think it's something that we all need to apply. See, you're back, Lawrence. Good afternoon, brother.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, brother. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you good. I had to get my coffee.
Yeah, it took me a little longer than usual.
Yeah, I know why. It threw me off too. So I like them peas too. Peace, Marco. Thanks for coming out, brother.
So how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing the best I can. Getting this coffee. Waking me up. So
that's what I'm trying to do. I got a really mad late start today. Shalom to everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
And if anybody didn't remember, please hit the like button while you're in here.
Yes, appreciate that. But Sigma Jones will be joining us in a bit. He said he's finishing up some stuff he's got to finish up streams for next month. So
Sigma.
Okay. Enjoy having him on.
Okay. He must have popped in when I walked away. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Is he coming up?
Yes. He's joining in a bit.
Nice. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I came in halfway on your commentary, so I missed some of it. And I hate to have you rehash, but could you fill me in again?
Oh, yes.
You were literally talking when I came in.
That's fine. No, I went over. The topic is why you can't serve two masters. So I went to Matthew chapter 6, verses 22 through 24 to show why. And it starts out with 22 saying the eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. Basically, all it's saying is, you know, what your perception is, what you perceive and value, the information that you want to take on depends on what you do, whether it be negative or positive, whether it
Right.
be beneficial to society or toxic to society, or just the people around you in general, or even to yourself too.
Right.
So in it goes on to 23 say, but if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. So if the very light inside you is darkness, how great and terrible is that darkness? So now it's going to, how pretty much for lack of for to keep it simple, man. Look, if you got dark desires, man, damn, how effed up are your desires? That those dark desires inside of you.
Right.
And then 24, that's when it goes on to say that no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon, which mammon is anything that you value more than your relationship or purpose that God has given you.
Right. Yeah, that could be wife, children, money.
Yeah, anything. It can be anything. And and what it's saying here is no one can serve two, because of the simple fact that what is stated in 22, the eye is the lamp of your body. So what you perceive, your perception on what's valuable and what you desire, you're gonna do. You're gonna do. So even though you're trying to sit in the middle, you can't, because what you do is gonna show. So that's where it's saying, you're going to be devoted to one and despise the other, even though you may be trying to you may be trying to sit on the fence, but your actions and what you do, because of what your perspective, it choose to you're going to show it. Yeah. Hey, Gone, what's good? What's good? What's good? Judge Zilla in here. Yeah. Hey, Judge, I try to like I said, I like to bring out the practical aspects and the stories that we can apply to our everyday life. That's what I do. I don't focus on all the mystical stuff that I can't do none of that. I ain't seen none of it done, so I can't apply none of that. But the things that the practical information that it has in here, that I can focus on and apply to my everyday life, and I think everyone can use those gems to apply to everyday life to help their mindset and what they can focus on. So that was pretty much the synopsis of the topic, Lawrence. Your thoughts, brother?
Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you good?
I think what's fascinating to me, at least what I find even scarier than serving two masters. Nowadays, there are people serving more than two, and that's got to be ripping people apart. It's gotta be.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
I mean, it's just. I mean, you can call it whatever you want, whether you're chasing something or whether that's just the circumstance you're in, or that's how life goes. But I mean, between, you putting your wife ahead of things, your kids ahead of things, your job ahead of things, your need for success, wealth, power, money. Yeah, man, people serving a lot of different masters all at the same time. Two is hard enough.
Well, two is impossible.
Yeah.
So trying to do more than that, you're pretty much. I mean, you're looking for a mental breakdown. You're nuts.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah. You're done. That's a wrap.
You are mentally damaged. You're gonna break down. You're gonna have multiple personalities. You're gonna be all kinds of effed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just,
but I mean, there's always been a sense of, I don't know if this is the right phrase to use, but I don't have another one that comes to mind. But there's always been an aspect of human beings to act or have a duality within themselves. I'm not sure if that's the right phrase though. But trying to like, for instance, from a scriptural perspective, trying to live accordingly to what the Most High looks as wanting us to be, but trying to make it work inside of a system that's not built for you to be that type of person. So it's like we've always had this ability to live in or try to live rather in both worlds. Even though no matter which one you pick, it's not going to work completely, regardless of how you do it. I mean, even Yahweh Shai said it himself. Um, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar.
Right,
and,
right.
And the other one was be in the world but not of it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So, yeah, and he never said it was going to be easy either.
Right.
So to be fair, but yeah, I mean those speak as well to the idea of serving two masters. And to be fair, in some instances, it almost seems like both statements are contradicting each other. Be in the world but not of it. Okay, well, if I'm in it and I'm not of it, how do I render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's? It's I mean, if we're gonna be fair about it, we're gonna be fair about this. Let's be fair about it. So it's yeah. But serving two masters, it just does something to you both spiritually and mentally
and physically.
And physically. Yeah, well, the stress alone. But yeah, it's hella hard, and it's not good for you, and there's a reason for that. I'm not saying we're not built for it, because we are capable of it. Apparently we've been doing it for centuries, but I don't think it's something we're supposed to be doing. There should be one idea, one focus, one purpose, for every person, and that should be the sole existence of yourself as who you are and your identity. But when you have to compromise it for the sake of trying to get something else done, then you end up being that two master kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Because that's what serving two masters does. It compromises you on both ends.
Right. Well, I mean, it compromises you, period. Yeah. In every aspect of your life. Because if it affects you negatively mentally, it's going to affect you negatively emotionally. It's going to affect you negatively in what you do and your approach to life, and because it's affecting all that, it's going to affect you negatively physically as well. We all know how we've seen different things where doctors talk about how their stress, it has a negative effect on the body as well. So yeah, I agree.
So I mean, and like I said, I don't care who you are. You can say whatever you want, but we've all done it, and we all still do it. So, to be quite frank,
right.
And I really don't have any thoughts or concepts on how to get past that. The only way I could possibly see getting past it is the standard response. Bust your ass, get everything done, make what you can, and then spend the rest of your life not having to answer to anybody and do your own thing. But outside of that, that's the only solution I got. I mean, from a practical perspective.
Dead in time.
Say again?
Dead in time.
Yeah, but even with time,
I was going to say sometimes it takes certain individuals a lot more time to process and be able to come to that conclusion, whatever it is.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's what I meant about time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, not everybody moves at the same pace. That's all that is.
And then some people, they'll never get it. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at you, man. There's stuff, and we've talked about it. There's stuff overall that you figured out long before I did. You know what I'm saying? you figured out when you were younger. I'm starting to get the game plan of it, like what, the last 5-6 years or something like that. So.
Yeah, I think, and also too, you're also at a place where I'm not. And I'm not just talking about, as far as in a sense of, what am I looking for? In a sense of in a rank or society wise, what I'm saying, as far as what's the word? Economical or financial and all that. I'm talking about more so, I guess, in your life goals too. In the sense of you're at a spot where most of us here aren't, because for one, your age, you're exactly where you should be.
I hope so.
I mean, I think so. You're exactly where you should be. Whereas, because when we go back to the conversation last night, and when you were saying, a lot of it's pointless. It is. But the other thing that I have to understand too is the simple fact that um, you're at a stage where exactly where you should be to think like that. Whereas we're a whole lot younger. And now, of course, I'm probably closer to your thinking in aspects, and in some things, and others I'm not. But on that aspect, I think that others aren't because they're at a place and at a time in their life where um, it's still is going to matter, where they can't override their biological conditioning yet. Whereas you're at a point where you should be at the point of overriding it. So I always try and take those factors in as well. But yeah.
No, I can't argue with that. That's a fair assessment. That's an absolute fair assessment.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it can kind of be probably a little frustrating at times to see.
Yeah, but that's on me though.
Yeah, no.
I got to be honest. That's on me because I get frustrated on people getting people up to speed.
Yeah.
To where I'm at, and that's on me.
And you got to think, you're in your mid-50s, pretty much.
Yeah. And
most of us,
and I got to be honest about that. That's on me. That's not on anybody else.
Oh yeah, I know. And I know you don't mean anything negative by it, but
Oh no, never.
Oh
never,
yeah, no. I know
never.
that. I know that. I think, to be honest, I think that most of the viewers here and the people that participate in the chats and different streams, they understand it as well too. I think, they know it. They can't understand it because the simple fact they're not there yet. Maybe a few percentage can kind of get through that to understand that. But I think that I think you're at a place that you have to. It kind of forces you to kind of like, oh yeah, I'm not there. They're not there yet. I have to remember to step back, even though we can have these great discussions, and we can have these meaningful discussions that whenever we get to a certain point, it's always going to go back to this point because of the simple fact of their age.
And that's my point when I was saying that's on me because on one hand we have good discussions and then I forget that. I mean literally
you forget the age. You forget the gap between the age. I know it happens.
I honestly do because sometimes when I'm talking to all of you guys, it's like I mean, when you just topics we have, it sounds like you guys are like I'm talking to people in my own age bracket. I like it because that like I said before, I think highly of you guys, intelligence, and all 9 yards, and I forget that sometimes that there is that age difference. I really do, and then I end up getting into another topic of conversation, and then you can hear the frustration in my voice because you realize I forgot the age difference. Yeah. And I'm seeing stuff in a way through a different lens.
Right. And I think that's one of the things about our brotherhood and our friendship that I think that I've kind of been the bridge to that, because the other thing is too, I'm used to that because I've got a lot of older family members and people that I'm around regularly that they forget that they're at least 5 or more years older than I am, even though they've been used to being around me for such a long time, and the level of conversation that I can have, it makes them forget that I forgot he's not my age. He's not as old.
And then
now here I'm old as hell. I'm old as hell.
Yeah. Hey Sigma, how you doing, man?
Yeah, peace, Sigma. Welcome to the panel, brother.
Hey, peace, shalom to you fellas. How y'all doing this morning and afternoon?
Man, good. Are we gonna argue whose avatar is the more intelligent? Are we gonna do that?
Actually, I like him too and all, but as a child of the '90s, Beast will always be my favorite X-Man. So I just have to.
My favorite X-Man. If I go to the X-Man side, it's going to be Gambit. Now, if I go to the whole, that whole particular comic in general, it's going to be Magneto. But because I never really just viewed him that much as a bad guy, just because of the simple fact he did try to get away, but he knew that humans and and mutants could not exist together in the way that Charles did. Even Charles
Man,
had to admit later on that
man,
Magneto was right.
Magneto's the ultimate good guy. That's where I stand on it.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But it's interesting with you, Sigma, because of the topic. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Beast has had the struggle with that very concept, has he not?
Oh yes,
Between the concept of serving as a scientist as a whole and his actual nature, as opposed to being a physical quote unquote brute and having to get into the kind of stuff that the X-Men get into. He's always struggled with that, always.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I like Beast so much, is because it's always that inner battle where he enjoys the moments of scientific discovery and really kind of honing in on the intellect side, but then you know because he is a mutant and all, there's a part of him that has that urge to be of a savage, and it is an internal struggle that I think it relates to a lot of men, and the fact that there's a line between, you want to do what's best for you and what could potentially give you more meaningful in life, but then there's another side where, because it's human nature, the herd mentality and wanting to fit in and wanting to be like those that either you live by proximity or you have some type of commonality, and so it's that inner struggle that really highlights today's discussion about which masters are you really going to serve. You're going to love one and hate the other.
Yeah, absolutely,
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why my avatars have a tendency to be Mr. Terrific, or like before it was Brainiac 5. Because
Brainiac 2 was one of my favorites growing up. So good choices there.
yeah. But yeah, because before I had Terrific, I had Brainiac 5 from the Legion, and he has that same dichotomy too: his need for scientific discovery, but his desire to fit in. And he got lucky. He found the Legion, who literally accept him for what he is, And Terrific struggles with the concept of being a scientist and understanding spirituality, because he doesn't believe in God. He's an atheist, but yet he fights in battles with other superheroes where he goes against people like the Spectre. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's changing his whole perception.
Exactly.
It's affecting his reality on what he knew before.
And on top of that, he's also struggling with another issue, because his faith was, how can I put it? He decided to become an atheist after he lost his wife in a car accident, only to find out she was on the way to tell him they were expecting. So he lost two people, and in that, and that's where that rift in his brain came about, being an atheist and etc. and so on, until he became a superhero. Which is funny, because the person who convinced him to be a superhero was actually the Spectre, who, as far as he's concerned, he thought was just a delusion in his mind. So I mean, just looking at him, Brainiac, and the Beast, man, and that dichotomy of serving two masters, it's interesting to watch, especially when you get a good writer on it who shows you that depth.
Man, writing, writing is very important with a lot of these stories, which is, man, one of the reasons why I enjoyed Japanese anime so much, because of the simple fact of the depth and the weight of these situations that they would be in, and seeing the growth and the whole spectrum of different personalities of characters, which is why Bleach is my all-time favorite Japanese anime, and I've always thought that every good story is only as good as its best villain.
Yes.
I mean, a terrible villain makes for a terrible story altogether. I mean, you just can't. There's no getting around it. That's why.
I mean, you can't have a story without a good villain to push that protagonist forward. You just can't. I'm going to mute up for a second. I'll be right back.
Cool. And yeah, so that's why, to me, I've always enjoyed and thought of the more um, intelligent and mastermind villains is the ones that stuck out to me more because of how they challenge the heroes, the protagonists, mentally, and how they challenge their whole way of thinking, their whole way of life. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, how they thought about things is, which is why Eisen became my favorite villain ever. And I think also when I have to look at Japanese anime, when I look back at Naruto Shippuden and Pain's whole cycle of pain speech to Naruto, it was probably one of the most pivotal and powerful and great moments in that whole entire series between both animes itself. Uh,
Oh yeah, I agree, and definitely on the topic talk about with the villains and all, which still kind of ties in with today's topic. For
mhm.
me, growing up, a lot of kids when they think of villains, they think of guys who just have this all empowering ability, and
Mhm.
they just beat beat their opponents just based off of brute strength or some
Right,
sort of hidden abilities that
right.
nobody could really stay on their level. But for me, a lot of the villains, especially once I started getting more into like my teenage years and going up, a lot of the villains that I actually started to relate more and actually consider them higher up on my list is the villains who actually challenge philosophies and
Yes.
actually makes their opponents really think long and hard about their existence. And that's why even I would put Eisen up there as one of the top villains on my list,
Mhm.
because he really, when the opponents were fighting him, it wasn't just based off of he has a lot of abilities with his bankai, and he's
He
able
didn't even use
to.
his Bankai. That
Yeah,
was the
he
whole thing.
rarely he
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 never
rarely
used it.
uses it. Yeah,
That was
he
just the guy.
rarely use it at all. But it's just that in every battle that he faced with his opponents, it was a philosophical battle,
Battle. Yes, it
and you
was.
could you could tell when his opponents were shook, because even they had to start questioning their own existence
Yes.
Oh
and
yeah.
their input within that situation.
Yeah.
So to me, those type of villains is more so like I really think they highlight kind of like the best overall villains. Like even Magneto, I will put up there too, is because they really wants you to challenge them on their way of thinking,
Yeah.
on their
Yeah.
philosophy,
I agree.
and to be honest with you, a lot of their thinking, I
It's
would
not
say
off.
90%. Yeah, 90% of it, I can actually say he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why.
yeah. That's when you know they're good, when
Yeah.
you're agreeing with them. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's why Pain was the best villain for Naruto to me. I mean, when he broke down that whole cycle of pain speech, and it's like, damn. Uh,
Yeah.
it's like, where are you gonna go now? I mean, this whole speech he gave broke down every point that you're trying to make. It's like, wow.
Hmm.
And the same thing with Eisen. And when he told when he first revealed himself to be the villain, when you first see it, and his whole interaction with Captain Hisagaya, and he finds that of course Eisen is ran his former lieutenant
Hmm.
Hinamori through with Kyoka Suigetsu, and then he sees her there lying in the pool of her own blood, and he's like, she admired you, and he said, I know, and he was like, admiration is the furthest point from understanding. it's like it's
Hmm.
like wow, and I was like, yeah, it's like it makes so much sense because when you admire an individual, you can't understand them because you're so enamored by what you're admired with by what you're admired with them about, and you can't see any of their flaws, you can't see anything about them to even understand them to the grain of a mustard seed.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's funny how that same philosophy thinking applies to even to our world,
Yes.
because you will have individuals who will blindly follow other
Ooh.
people in higher positions that on the outside, a person who's neutral on the opposite can
Mm,
literally see the wrongdoing that that higher person is doing. But
hmm.
because the other person is looking at them with admiration and really think that they could do no wrong, to them, that's it's almost like that's their entire being. They're created in their minds to be of service to that particular individual, and that other individual could do no wrong in their eyes.
And that's why,
Mm.
you always have that saying, never meet your heroes.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Because when you do, you find out that everything that you admire them about doesn't fit when you meet them in real life.
Yeah, once you break out of that admiration state, you
Hmm.
do. Yeah. Um, but you tend to find that with so many people, they don't break out of it. And they never see those flaws, they never see those foibles. Um, and it's very it's very that's why I like Japanese anime so much, because it pointed out these facts, and I think it's had a crucial impact. Got you, Zero. Yeah. Yeah, it is a DRDF. Those people.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, DR, yeah,
Okay.
that's what that DR did. What Stephen Jones was talking about people, meeting their heroes, and then sticking up for them even though they're wrong.
No, I heard you guys use the phrase before, but I didn't
Yeah,
know it was. I didn't know that the phrase meant what we're in the aspect we're talking about now.
yeah.
I thought you were actually. I thought it was something else, which I'm not gonna get on here.
Yeah, I know you thought it was meant in another way, but yeah, no,
Okay.
he meant it in this way. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I
Yeah,
got it.
because of these YouTube daddies on here.
I
Yeah,
was leaning in that direction.
yeah,
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 but like I said, I didn't want to go there because that's not what
exactly.
this is about.
But yeah,
But
but I guess, well, I guess it could. I mean, they would fall under serving two masters crap too.
yeah, well, under specific degrees, yeah, they
Yeah,
absolutely would. They
yeah,
absolutely would. No question to that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, but like I said, there's a reason, and we had this conversation before. I believe I gave a list. That's why Doom, Doctor Doom, Lex
yeah,
Luthor, Thanos,
yeah,
Magneto. That's why they make my list, man. That's why they make my list because, like I said, they force you, intentionally or not, to question everything you've learned.
yeah. And like whenever I did my whole villains thing, and you were on there with me, Lawrence.
Yeah,
Um, Eisen made my number one, and Palpatine made my second,
that's
because
correct.
I mean, when you read the book, you see that you begin to understand how he questions his whole line of logic, and how he took down the Jedi was it was on point.
Yep.
They were their own undoing.
Yep.
And they're thinking of what they thought they understood about their enemy, and because they lost numbers, that they were weaker, and that uh, they only had power through the Force, but they had amassed it in other ways. And whenever it gets to the movie, you see that Mace Windu figured this shit out. He's like, oh no.
Hmm. Hmm.
I
And,
mean,
it, and it comes back to what you said before. It puts them in a place where they have to turn around and question their own motivations and why and why they exist. And that in and of itself, to put that question into the mind of someone who's so stalwart on what they're doing,
mhm.
can tear a person down. It just does. It just does.
Yeah.
You know, that's why with Palpatine, so many Jedi's fell so easily. That's why with Doctor Doom, with Reed Richards,
Mm,
Reed never can defeat him, because deep down inside he knows to a degree Doom is correct. Same thing with Magneto and Xavier.
yes.
And we talked about that before, because if you want to do the analogy, Xavier is Martin Luther King Jr. and Magneto is Malcolm X. It's just that simple. Two
Hmm.
sides of the same coin. It's just about execution and the philosophical theories behind those executions. And like I said, I love them. I do.
Right. Man, yo, yeah, those are great, great characters that like to Sigma's point, those villains being able to question the validity of their philosophies for life and
Mm-hmm.
their existence, how it matters, and how it them being able to bring up logical aspects to say, hey, look, the
And
way you're
let's be
going about
honest.
things are
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, and let's be honest about something. Let's be totally honest. Come on. All of us was rooting for Thanos. We really were.
Oh yeah. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, a bunch of these folks need to go do your thing,
Mhm.
Thanos.
Yep. People don't want to say it out loud, but
Yeah, I
Infinity
know.
War
I'll
and
say it.
Endgame. Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
say it. I don't
I
care.
was rooting for him like a mud.
Yeah.
And not only just rooting for him, but we agreed with his logic. He's not wrong.
Right. He wasn't. He wasn't at all. Spiritual. What's up, man?
What's going
Welcome to the
on, man?
panel.
Hey, Hulk, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm just listening
Hey, peace.
to the comic book references, man. I'm a big anime comic book guy too, so
Right.
I can relate to it. But
Uh,
so what's the I was a little bit busy. I'm like,
Yeah,
what's it?
it's
So
cool.
Serving two masters.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
I went to Matthew chapter 6, verses
mhm,
22 through 24 to show how you can't, because of the simple fact of your perspective is going to decide what you do.
yeah,
Whether you perceive, whether what you're looking at you desire, whether it's negative or bad. So
right,
if it's negative, and you desire these things, you're going to do it. So you can't sit on the fence. So you're gonna show with what you do. Your track record is going to show as MOT. What you actually value.
yep, that's right. If you it's interesting. What's the exact verse again? You said
Oh
6 or
yeah,
7?
chapter 6 verses 22 through 24. I'll read them. The eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if
Mhm.
your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. So the very light inside you is darkness. How great and terrible is that darkness? So it's saying that how effed up are you?
Yeah,
If you're
yeah,
already viewing dark things, you want to desire these. And then 24 finishes up with no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon, which mammon is anything that you value
the
more
world,
than
yeah,
anything you value more than God, or your
yep.
the purpose He's giving you, all those things related to Him, your relationship with Him.
And what's interesting, I typically do the King James version. If you read 22,
Right.
it says, "The light of the body is the eye," and it says, "If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light." And basically, when that eye being single, you being focused not on no duality or something like,
Hmm.
the issue with the so-called church now is that they got one foot and they got one foot in both sides. They think they can be holy and worldly at the same time. And that's instead of just saying, when I'm doing one, I'm not doing the other. They think they can be, and that's why hypocrisy is a big issue because
Mm.
people are not being honest about what they're actually doing. It's like these preachers. If you think a lot of times what they do is they use vanity and greed and act like that's a avenue to holiness. You know what I'm saying? But instead of realizing that they're actually deviating from holiness in their pursuit of vanity and greed. And
You
it's
know,
like their eyes aren't focused on the most high. They're not focused on the truth. They're just using that as an avenue to get more of the world.
I think most of them actually realize they know that they're doing it.
Of
Um,
course.
they just want to sell these people a dream because of the simple fact. I mean, you have to think how these people feel. Um,
Hmm.
when I spoke earlier about the line that Eisen used in reference to Hinamori when he was speaking with Captain Hisagaya, when he said, "Admiration is the furthest thing from understanding."
Right.
These individuals, they want to be admired because it makes them feel like a god.
Yeah.
Uh, so, so getting that feeling, it's intoxicating for them, and they're going to keep it. They're going to do everything they can to keep that feeling. So
Yeah.
they're going to sell these people a dream. They're gonna they're gonna get rich off of it. They're gonna have the status off of it, and they're gonna feel like everything is okay in what they're doing, and it just shows.
Yeah. And
Well,
what you
well,
said, oh, I'm sorry.
no, you got it. You got it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and what you said a second ago, Eisen, in reference to what Hope was saying about they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is about being honest with ourselves, and in a place where we can talk. I did it.
Oh
I
wow.
mean, I'm not even gonna lie. In the beginning, I did it. Exactly what Hulk is talking about, using it as a means to, spirituality and faith as a means to get more in this world. And I've done it. I've done it. I mean, I'm glad I'm past that now. But in the beginning, I can't lie, I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all have kind of fallen short at some point in time, and it's about when you wake up and you want to acknowledge those things. And I'll admit, man, coming to this space uh, kind of helped me want to. Well, I kind of had an awakening before in how I view things, but coming here and hearing a lot of the logical aspects of the people, the guys here, helped me to further um, help to further affect how I looked at things even more and what I wanted to put in perspective, especially with this content here that I wanted to put out. Because I've welcomed anybody with logical reasoning on here. That's not going to tell anybody a bunch of bullcrap. That's why I said, what I wanted to focus on in the Bible was the logical aspects and the practical aspects that we all could apply to our lives and that could help change our mind and how we view things, that we could apply to make our lives better. All the mystical stuff. Look, I can't do none of that. I ain't never seen any of it, so I can't relate to it. So it's not something that I'm going to focus on and try and push, because in the end, it's not what matters the most. What matters the most is the information that I can use, that we can use, to change our minds to have a better life and to have a better effect on the other men around us.
Oh yeah. I would agree with that, and that was very well said. To be honest, that was very well said.
Thank you.
And what's interesting is, if you notice, a lot of people in their pursuit of greed. Let's just be honest. A lot of people who, in their pursuit of greed, in their pursuit of all these worldly things, they actually destroy themselves. And it's like people want to say, well, money is the solution to everything. But when we don't qualify that statement, are we justifying enslavement of another people? Are we justifying all these avenues that we've seen through history that people have used to get greed, to get money, to get status, to get all these worldly things? And so we have to qualify these things, because even like a lot of guys want to sit there and talk about the women. It's like, well, man, it's all about getting women. And I'm like, how many guys are getting ran through the cleaners, getting their lives destroyed for the pursuit of this, because they haven't mastered themselves, because they're not being honest about what's in their heart.
Yep.
Like when your heart is, it's like when your eye is, what they say, the eye is a window to the soul, and the heart, from a biblical sense, is not a emotional thing. It's of your spirit. Just like your mind is of your spirit. You remove yourself from that fleshly understanding of things, and you're realizing, man, what's in my heart really? And because based on what's really in your heart and your mind is going to determine how the world's going to exploit you. Do you see the lies and the deceptions? Are you falling for the traps, and are you believing this crap, or are you awakened to see, because you have mastered yourself? You see the evils. Like, I could be the first person to say, look, the reason I spent so much time in my life mastering myself, like of my lust, because I know what happens when you lack self control,
Man.
sexual discipline. I understand how that woman or that this world is going to play on people who are greedy without any discernment. Like, think about all the people getting money, but they'll promote LGBT, they'll promote feminism, they'll do anything for money. They'll even sleep. They'll even degrade themselves and denigrate themselves for money. And we can't say, oh, all money is good money, when we see people doing the most heinous things to get money.
Yeah, and to your point, you've had people saying on here before, not on mine, but other channels, that making money with other people, forget the integrity. How you're making the money.
But
making the money is what matters. Now, look, if you make any, I can't deal with you.
but the problem with that, I would challenge them. Okay, so that means you're saying you'll do anything for money. So you do the same thing. So they'll do the same thing a hoe would do for money. You'll suck somebody off for money. You do anything. Then they'll say, no, I ain't talking about that. But you got to qualify that statement.
Exactly.
You said that you'll do anything for money. That means that if Harvey Weinstein was gay, or LGBT alternative lifestyle, and he say, look, you want the role, you're gonna do the same thing the women do. And that's why men have to separate themselves from women. You
Mhm.
cannot have the same mindset of a woman, because then you're gonna be susceptible to the same traps. Women are greedy.
Yeah.
Look what they'll do. They'll do
And,
anything.
Yeah. And I wanted to say
oh, go ahead.
something, but before I do, I wanted to let Sigma go because it sounds like he wanted to say something.
Oh no, I was just highlighting exactly what Hulk was saying. One of the series I'm doing is called Reflection of the Inner Man.
Mm.
And one of my latest videos, I talked about the concept of hope and how a lot of people rely on hope just so they can find some sort of meaning of existence. And just like Hulk was saying, you know, too many people do not focus on inner reflections and being able to develop their own self esteem. So when you have individuals that say, I'll do anything for money, what they're telling you is that's pretty much their whole existence. They can't do anything outside
Right.
of getting money. And so when you have those individuals that have developed their own self-esteem and reflections at all, those people I would actually consider more spiritual and actually more in tune with, whatever higher being they go to and all, than the people of the church. And I say that
Ooh,
because
yeah.
when you look at how the church world is functioning as of now, you have two types of individuals. You have an individual who has a hidden agenda, and he or she, and like what Hulk's saying, would do anything for money. You shouldn't pay attention to what they say. You watch what they do. And then you have the other individuals, the vast majority in the church, who have no sense of self. And so they will sheepishly be led astray and be led to any sort of condemnation because they can't reflect things from within. And that's why when you brought up Isaac about the admiration part, that's exactly how a lot of folks that follow religion, that follow politics, that follow any sort of herd mentality sanctioned area, they're trying to find some meaning of existence. It's just unfortunately you you can't find it from outside sources. That has to come from within, and that requires a lot of reflection.
But that's and that's always been the problem to me, because in order to self reflect, in order to have introspection, there has to come a certain level of courage
Hmm.
in oneself, and that's what's missing. Because a lot of people, they make one of two choices at the end of the day. They either don't want to look inward because they don't like what they're going to see, which is a lack of courage to do it, or they want to just go along to get along because it's just
Hmm.
easier to let somebody else,
Yep.
quote unquote, accept the responsibility and the job of making the decisions. That way they can wipe their hands of it and say it wasn't me. That's a huge thing as well. And excuse me, I'm sorry. And that's why we're all three of you made absolutely absolutely excellent points across the board. I can't argue with a single thing you said. And what you just said, Sigma, using the church as an example, using the church as an analogy, that's a perfect example of people wanting to refuse responsibility for themselves by passing it off somewhere else.
Yep.
Because as
And
far as they're concerned, I'll pray for it. If God doesn't give it to me, then oh well, He doesn't want me to have it. No, that's not how that works, man. What you just did is you allowed yourself not to get up and do the work
Well,
and
they
not
kind.
accept
Oh, my bad.
responsibility for it. So you know what I mean?
I was gonna say that kind of goes to the hope aspect that Sigma was talking about, as well as Zero talks about all the time.
Yeah.
The problem with hope is that for most individuals, it makes them lazy.
Hmm.
The only thing they do is they sit back and wait for things to fall into their lap, and then sometimes for you to actually do it too, and then they just reap the benefits of it. It makes me think about probably everybody's heard it. The old joke about a guy who's out in the water and the flood's coming, and he previously had a dream where God told him he was going to save him, and he's standing out there. Boat comes by, He tell him to get on in. That water's rising. He says,
Yeah.
"Oh no, keep going. God got me."
Mm-hmm.
And then another one comes on. The water done rolls up to his waist now. They tell him get on in. That water's getting high. Oh no, y'all keep going. The Lord got me.
Exactly.
And
And you
then
know,
yeah, and then by the time the third boat comes around and said it's up to his neck, and he says the same thing. And then later on, he gets into heaven. He's God. I thought you had me. I sent 3 boats your way, fool. You should have got in one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
but you know what's crazy from a Bible, and this is why I tell people you have to separate the Bible from this church system. You have to
Yes, I
separate them.
agree.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
And
do.
and and
Absolutely.
the issue and the issue is a lot of people don't realize that the Bible does not tell you to have faith on a fantasy or an illusion. See, here's the thing.
Ooh.
We live in an illogical world, right? And so the Bible is basically giving you a logical breakdown. Just like the Bible says that if a man wants to eat, he has to work. If a man wants to avoid negative outcomes, you reap what you sow. These are biblical principles that have preceded a lot of things. And so the Bible is actually telling you be responsible because the world is going to exploit you from the evil within yourself. So you have
Be
to
good
deal with
stewards.
yourself first.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have to deal with yourself. If you have unrestrained evil within you, you're blinded to evil in the world and how it's going to exploit and manipulate and control you. And that's exactly what we see because a lot of people don't realize that the Bible is basically saying trust this logical biblical principle. You reap what you sow. If you wanna eat, you have to work. You get what you put out. Trust these principles, even though the world's selling you a lie. The world's gonna sell you a lie. The world's gonna say it's gonna work. It's gonna work out if you just feel everything. The world's telling you it's gonna work out. That's not what the Bible says. If you can, I tell people they don't like the Bible. I said, tell me the chapter and verse that the Bible doesn't that tells you that you're gonna get a fantasy. It's not. Matter of fact, it tells you that you're evil, and that's people don't want to believe in evil, but we complain about things we don't like. And if it's all subjective, then no one's complaint is valid. And that's the thing. It's not really subjective because if complaining is subjective, then no one's complaint is valid. But if it is objective, if there is a actual right and wrong, then everybody agrees. And I tell people it's this simple. People are not going to be honest until they literally getting punched in the face. Like people will lie and say, "Oh, that's not wrong. That's just how you feel." And then we'll say,
Yeah.
"Well, if it's just how I feel, then let me punch you in the face and don't tell me I did nothing wrong. That's just how you feel." And see, when you give it back to them, it doesn't work because then they forced to recognize they were being dishonest. Because there is an objective right and wrong. All you got to do is flip it to the person who's claiming there's not, and they're going to complain. They're going to feel wrong. It's like, and it's crazy because you could say that, and then you could steal from somebody who doesn't believe in morality, and then they say, "Well, hey, you did something wrong." I say, "That's just how you feel, bro. I'm doing what's in my best interest."
And you,
Excuse
me, I'm sorry.
No, you got it.
No, I was going to say that, and you can see that play out across the channels. As a matter of fact, I remember one a month or so back with MOT had a guy up there talking about drugs in the neighborhood and the whole 9 yards, and MOT kept going at it, man. The homeboy eventually said it, you know what I'm saying? Well, other people's kids, not mine. I was like, wow.
Right.
I was like, wow. But like I said, you see it on all the channels, man. And then you see it in the real world too. Now, you see it everywhere, to be quite frank. But going to what you said, that's the point I'm saying about being introspective. They won't do it because they know if they do it, it has to shatter every single illusion that you just said they had. That's why they won't do it. That's why I said It's easier to just go along than get along. Because like I said, it absolves them of any responsibility and consequences. In that respect, that's goes back again to what you said earlier, men working in a female frame, because that's absolutely a female frame.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't deny that. That's absolutely a female frame. When you actually sit there and you just want to ride the wave and let somebody else take all the hits, you know what I'm saying, and take no responsibility. And to make matters worse, they did all the struggle, but you want to reap the reward. You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously. I mean that's what that is. I've had that conversation with a lot of my little cousins and friends in the real world, and etc. So I've been having that conversation for like easily 30 years, easily. And I can't stress it enough. And that goes back to what you were saying about me earlier, Eisen. about being older, and sometimes I forget I'm talking to younger brothers because, like I said, to me, you guys are just like right there in your brains, man. Just being some of the smartest people I've known in a long time. And I keep forgetting that you're younger because, you know,
I get what it is because you can't have these conversations with people your age in your real life.
I can't because I'm surrounded by nothing but all the other ones that we've always talked about.
Watch this though.
Yeah.
Neither can we.
Wow.
Zero brings it up every time. You can't.
Wow.
We can't have these discussions outside of YouTube for one reason. Niggas are too emotional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to look in that mirror and reflect and say, "Yeah, I'm fucked up." Nobody wants to do it.
Yeah, no, what? Like I said, man, I don't lie. I've done it a couple of times on a couple of streams. I got emotional about it. I'm not even gonna bullshit about that.
Yeah,
because it's and that's why I said it's not easy. I mean, for the most part, I think I'm doing better than most brothers my age or older. Because I mean, most of the ones I know to my age or older, they're gone. I mean, they're done. I mean, I mean, the hell with having a conversation. I can't even say hello to them. They're that far gone. I mean, it's just bad. It's just bad. It's bad. And I think that's another one of the things that and I'm just, it's just an assumption on my part, but I think that's another one of the reasons why I'm okay with talking with you guys, because I'm not in there just talking that nonsense. I'm not just making it up as I go. I'm not just trying to sell you something that I know damn well don't work, especially when I have failed twice at it, my damn self. You know what I mean? So I mean, because you got a certain responsibility after a certain number of failures. You got to like, okay, well, I keep hitting my head against the brick wall and the wall's not moving, so I guess I'm the one who's got to move. You feel me?
Yeah, and Lars,
yeah, I'm sorry, Sigma. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, I definitely can relate to what you're talking about, because I'm probably the youngest guy on the panel right now, 28, about to be 29 next month. And even these conversations, like, amongst my own peers, I can't even have a very thought-provoking, self-reflecting discussion like we're having now. Right. Because just being honest, men from the backgrounds we come from, they have been ran circles and have really been, as they say, have their self-esteem beaten out of them, that when you try to have these conversations and really try to have them reflect on their existence, it's almost like a cognitive dissonance to where they literally shut down. And they reboot. Will look at you, reboot and everything. They literally have to question, like, who are you? Like, you're not the Sigma Jones or the Lawrence guy or the Spiritual Hulk or the Aizen Sama that I know and whatnot. And it's because of the fact that these individuals, whether young or old, they have been beaten so and have been dehumanized and emasculated so that any sense of self-reflection, any sense of, getting your bootstraps on and making things work for yourself, it is foreign to them. And it's something that is going to take years. For some, it may not even come, but for sure, it's going to take years before they're even ready to have these type of conversations.
Right. And, to the point that Hulk was making earlier about people not wanting to realize their own evil in them. We all talk about all these pills and everything, and it all comes from the Matrix.
Yeah.
And we were talking about villains earlier. Agent Smith was so great because in that first Matrix movie, he said the one thing that summed up all of humanity when he had Morpheus chained to that chair. No one ever thinks about it or even brings it up that I've really heard.
Yeah.
When
you're talking about the virus.
Yes, right? When he talks about it, he tells them that human beings are more like a virus than any other living organism on the planet because they consume everything and move to another source to do the same thing. They don't live in a symbiosis with all other organisms around them.
No,
only take enough of what's needed. They got to take it off.
We're the only ones who don't do it. Everybody else lives in an absolute symbiotic relationship with their environment. Everything else does but us.
And that's the concept of greed, lust, of this insatiable appetite of
Yes.
just being driven by pure ego and pride, but not thinking about like, okay, if everything is destroyed, what is the value of me being here? Because like, let me tell you something. I'm gonna relate this two masters to why I don't get into these high value arguments and stuff like that.
Mm.
Here's the issue. You know, when people are trying to promote that there's a situation where a man can be a man and be fed into this relationship marriage narrative. And I'm like, here's the thing about that. It doesn't matter if a woman's pretending to be a good woman or if she is a good woman. The whole idea is that in this current legal system, in this current society and culture, a man is being leveraged by everything else around him. He's not really just saying he can't really assert himself on things legally. So you're always negotiating from a hope perspective when you're dealing with a woman. Like, okay, she's good, but I hope that she doesn't change and become like the women, and take me to through the legal system, or realizes the leverage that she can hold my peace and my finances hostage to switch the dynamic of, because it's like it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I could use my who I am enough to draw women to me, right? But as long as I'm avoiding all these obstacles that women are trying to draw me into, like marriage, relationship, and I'm not saying you should have sexual discipline. I'm not saying you should go around and just sleep with a whole bunch of women. That's a you problem. That's a identity problem. Because honestly, it should be too much going on in your life that's important than just sleeping with a whole bunch of women for real. Like I can understand the benefit of having a woman there, but these dudes acting like that's the end all and be all of existence. It's just going around like, and the thing is that men should be trying to secure a position in society to say, aren't we tired of falling into these traps? Aren't we tired of always, being dependent on somebody else, or trying to? We should be trying to, you know, work to control more of our personal environments, and actually being with being in a woman's world, marriage, relationship is actually an antithesis to that. You cannot deal with women in their realm of trying to be in a relationship or marriage where the legal system supports them, and claiming you're controlling more of your environment, because actually what you're doing is you're giving more control. Like men, like even the men who claim they have a good marriage, they're saying that because as long as they're calm, as long as they're not speaking up, as long as they're not doing all the things that men do, of course the woman's not going to have a problem. You're giving her what she wants. But see if the moment that you say, you know what, it's not about what you want, this is about what I'm doing. See if she doesn't change on you in that marriage. Now, when you deal with a woman and she can't have no leverage against you, and she's with you because of you, she's not going to do anything because you're smart enough to avoid all the traps. She actually, the only way she can get near you is to be on your program, is to be doing the things that you already are doing. But once you get into her realm of legality, she can say, I got you now. So if you don't do what I say, I'm just going to complain and run to the courts. I'm going to complain and run to the government. And that's exactly why I tell dudes this system is not designed for a actual marriage, in the actual sense where men are men. This is a system that diminishes men to a simple utility for women, and that's what most men are understanding in a marriage or when they have children. That women are just turning you into a simple utility, a simple means to an end, and that's not how this is not supposed to work. So when you make a woman your master, and you say it's not about a man, trying to control his life, being in control of his life, keep anything that's trying to take control of his life away from him. Because you can either serve yourself as a man, or you're serving women when it comes to the relationship dynamic. You can't do both. Either it's all about you or it's all about her. And most dudes are making it all about her, thinking that they can still be a macho man in a situation that's all about her legally. It's not going to happen.
Spot on. And honestly, just to kind of highlight what you were saying, Hulk, this is why I myself don't get too caught up in this whole high value thing in the conversations. And the reason being is because the whole concept of high value, whatever camp is talking about it, is coming from a source of external validation, which to me means as easy as it is to give you that accolade and astonishment, it's also easy to have it taken away from you because it's based on something external.
Right.
To me, if you are truly as a high value man, you don't need to have it shown to everybody because you have developed it from within. You know your true value. You know what you can bring in any sort of relational dynamic. You don't need to have somebody come to you and say, oh, yeah, he's definitely high value or she's definitely high value. Because again, if you're relying on that external validation, it can easily be taken away. And then what's left of it? What's your purpose of existence then once that's taken away? And so that was definitely spot on, and it's something that a lot of men, not just women, but a lot of men really need to just stop and think and really ask themselves, is this is something that is from within, or am I seeking external validation? And if it's something that's external validation, you probably want to get it out of your system before it really hits rock bottom once it's taken away.
Well, and on top of that, it's also one of those situations like what Hulk was saying. I agree 100%. I've been saying that since day one I got here, so I don't disagree on any of that. As far as it goes for what you said, Sigma, yeah, that's true. And the thing about external validation is this: you build that external validation builds you up to be something you're really not, because
Yep.
you're living a life that other people have defined for you. So once that external validation is taken away, now you're standing there not knowing who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got to start all over from scratch to figure out what your true foundation is, who you truly are, etc., and so on. And again, speaking from experience, I have done that. I have lived that. And it's not a good place to be. And it puts you behind the 8 ball considerably so.
And Lawrence, oh,
No, I was
my
done.
bad.
I was done. Yeah, no, I was done. I was done.
Oh, I was going to say, I was going to add to what you're saying, and that's another thing. See, we've all had to learn from life, and it's not about the fact that no one started off perfect. It's that we paid attention to trial and error. We paid attention to from our experiences. We learned from logical outcomes and consequences of the choices we made. See, a lot of people they ignore all that. They go through life ignoring the actual logical outcomes of saying this is a foolish thing. Just look at the results that came from it. Like like how many times do you have to get married? And look, we all been indoctrinated into this system where we think marriage is something that is for men until it proves that it's impossible. But at some point, you have to realize this is not going to work. At some point, we have to get over it because look, as a man, yes, every man wants to go through a time where you think about, man, it would be nice to have a son or have a child or have you've been sold into this notion of you can have rulership in a marriage and a woman's gonna you know uh, that whole thing about a woman is gonna allow you to be in a position of authority instead of you just assuming authority. That should be a red flag. A
Yeah.
woman has to allow you. No, that authority should already be assumed. And the fact that it's not is why I said that marriage can't exist. It's a word. All it is legal extortion. When women are promoting that word, marriage, men just should realize state sponsored prostitution or legal extortion. That's what's really happening from a legal. The marriage is an emotional word for men. Oh, a marriage means that she's going to be a wife. But women would never qualify what that means in a true sense. They just be like, oh, I want to be your wife. But what they're really saying is, I want to be your handler. I want to
Mm.
be, the person who, is a liaison with the government to control you. To
I'll go one step further by saying it's the one moment in time where women are very logical and precise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
because
It's the one time they throw all emotion out the window when they're calculating and they're planning getting
yep,
that dude to marry them. It's the one singular moment in their life when they're actually not emotional creatures.
well, I won't say it's the one, but it's one of because I mean,
Well,
as we hear,
if there's more, that's fine. But I'm just saying, in this particular instance, that's my
only
thought
reason why I
process.
said one of because we've learned in this space that it's not like they just got one suitor. So
That's
yeah,
true. That's
multiple
true.
men for multiple purposes.
That's true. Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
whenever they say that, what they're actually saying is, I want you to sponsor the lifestyle I want.
I want you to be the primary, is what they're saying. There's others, but you
No,
want
no,
I want
sponsor.
sponsor. That's what you guys are using, sponsor. Okay.
Yeah, that means she wants you to pay for the lifestyle she wants.
And the part of the logical plan is that they sell you an illusion that you should objectively, as a man, be able to see is not possible in this society. They sell you illusion that they can provide a household where you're running your household, even though legally you don't have authority to even control your kids or your wife once you engage in a marriage or a cohabitation environment. They sell you that illusion that they're going to ignore all the legality and they're going to be something that society incentivizes them to be the opposite of. And see,
Exactly.
we fall into that sale that they give us. They sell it off, right before you get married. Woman, she's like, oh, I want to be your wife so I can be there for you, support you. And we shut off our logical brains about looking at objective reality about what's actually happening. What
Yep.
can a man actually do in a marriage? We shut off our brain. We get all swooped up in this, she drowning us with sex and the prospect of sex and all of this stuff. And we thinking, oh man, it'd be nice to have this. And then as soon as you get in that situation, it's like the mousetrap that comes down on you and you're stuck. And it's
Yep.
like, and then when you realize, like, wow, I was in a daze. I was in a fantasy.
And some of you mentioned Hawk, because some of these young brothers, I asked them this question. I asked them, can you tell me the difference between a cultural marriage and a state-sanctioned marriage? And 99% of them can't even tell me the difference. And I would turn around and say, well, in that case, don't get married.
Yeah,
And
yeah. That's
you would not believe, I've actually had men in churches, these supposedly religious men, try to argue me down that you should still have a state sanctioned marriage.
Wow.
And I had to
Oh,
tell
wow.
them that you do realize that in that same Bible that you read, there was no such thing as a state sanctioned marriage.
Nope.
So why
much
you're
later,
telling
yeah.
yeah. So why you're telling me, as a young man who don't believe in state-sanctioned marriage, that if I do get married, I need to have the state involved? That's how much a lot of these men have been indoctrinated and have been selling this illusion that in order to make my wife happy, I gotta follow this. I have to follow this direction. I have to go through the state process of getting married and everything. And it's baffling and amazing that when I tell these guys that, look, sure, there's nothing that's 100% foolproof or divorce proof and everything, but there's a reason why arranged marriages still continue to this day. There's a reason why cultural marriage, people who do it, practice it, are more likely to stay married longer than people in state sanctioned marriage, because they don't have the state involved. There's no incentive for those who get into those type of marriages to all of a sudden look for some type of way out or a money grab moment. But like you, Lawrence, and Hulk are saying, these men, when they talk about marriages out, you got to build a community, you got to so to speak, help build families and all. They're still being disingenuous because they don't give that separation and give more clarification of, okay, should you seek a cultural type of marriage or a state sanctioned marriage? And they just put it out there that, no, you just need to get married in general. And then when you really push them and you really, as they say, get them out of the foxhole, all of a sudden it's like, well, if you do get married, you got to do a state sanctioned marriage, which, yeah.
What's crazy about what you said? If just on a logical, barring cohabitation, because that's why they have common law marriage. See, women probably promoted the common law marriage because some men were starting to wise up.
Mm-hmm.
And so they
I was about
instituted.
to say that. Yep.
They instituted the common. Because here's the thing: if a woman is actually with a man for the reasons that she's lying and claiming that she is, the state doesn't need to be involved. She's willing to play her role without having the potential to screw a man over. But see, the idea is that the potential is there. And a lot of dudes, they were like, well, my woman don't do that. And I'm like, well, the potential is still there for her legally, to change up. Like, what about these people who've been married for 30 years? In the 31st year, the woman just switches on them, and you're like, hold up, what is the
Hey,
value of those?
yo,
What
26, and that's what happened to me.
what is the value of those 30 years? What is the
Yep,
value of it? If
yep.
she acts just like every other woman on the 31st year, and I tell you, look, the marriage certificate came about. I researched this because I'm one of those people that wanted to know why did certificates became something, and it came from the 1913 Tax Revenue Act when the
Yes, it did.
government realized that two people, they can tax two people, they get more assets, they buy more things, and the government wants their money. And I'm
Mhm.
And
sure it was even deeper than that because women are always going to be used to leverage the men. Because you notice that the more you empower women, the more position you give women to beg for more government control.
and
Mhm.
And
and
and see,
oh, my bad. Go ahead.
no, you got it.
I
You
was
jump
just
in.
gonna say, and before that, there was an earlier predating of the starting of it with the Catholic Church, so they could, pretty much run
Oh
roughshod over
yeah,
the people.
Yeah,
yep.
I can't remember the year. I
yeah.
can't remember the year, but it
That's a
was
good point.
earlier. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
earlier than that too.
And
So
let's not forget, once they realized that they could get more out of same sex situations, that's when
Hmm.
they moved from common law to domestic partnership.
And
mm,
what's crazy? I tell
Mhm.
people, what is the value of being in a marriage if the alternative lifestyle community can adopt it? That lets you know that it's no longer has any value. It's
mm,
no longer between a man and a woman in their rightful roles when anybody with any kind of mindset can adopt the same thing. And then
Mhm.
and then that just proves it's all about being able to leverage one's assets and
mm.
control people. That's what it's about. And that's
That's
that's that's and that's against what being a man is about. Men have to control their lives. You cannot control your life if you're worried about, keeping someone happy who's against you controlling your life. You can't do it.
Yeah, you're essentially living with the domestic terror. I mean, I know no other way to put it.
no,
That
no. I
is
mean,
true.
no. That's it. Though that's the exact phrase. That's the exact phrase. There's no getting around it.
Yeah.
That's why last night I was saying the stuff that I was. This is no longer an argument or a debate. We know what's going on. They know what's going on. They've told us. They've explained it. They broke it down. You know.
Man,
It's
they've
like I
been
said. It's like
showing
I
it.
said before. Why would you? First of all, why would you bend the knee to have a woman be your wife?
Yeah, that's the
Sex.
Yeah,
first clue.
yeah, that right there is been
Yeah,
kneeling is always it's an
submissive.
expression of submission.
Yeah, it's expression of
Yeah.
submission, and then you go to
I
the next phase,
A
and
ring.
you have a house and the whole 9 yards. Okay, you're married. She's living in the house. Then after that, you have children. Now, as men, and this is where a lot of women get confused. Women think that as men, we're doing what we're doing to impress them and keep them happy. That's not
Most
the
are.
case. We're do no, yeah, I get that, but I'm talking about men.
Okay.
The
I
men,
got you.
real men, do what they do for their children, not for that woman.
Or for the whole of the family period.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, for the whole of the family. But for the most part, it's to leave something behind for the kids or to put the kids in a better position than they were. But women
Yeah.
seem to think that it's all about them. Period. Hands down.
Well, that's because that's how their mind functions. That's
Yeah,
how
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
function
yeah, yeah, yeah.
biologically.
I mean, I'm not complaining
No,
about it.
yeah,
I'm
no,
just
no.
making a point.
I'm
Yeah,
not saying you were complaining. I'm not
yeah.
saying that that's for anybody who does not know and understand. That's
Right.
how they biologically function. Women have
Mm-hmm.
always and will always be in a primitive state of mind to get by. I
That's
mean,
true. Yeah.
when you look at it, men overcame primitive functions to create societies because they had to
Mm-hmm.
survive. Women have never done that. They can't.
They benefited
They
from it, but
literally
they can't.
can't.
And
Well,
that's
I
why
mean,
society.
you have to think they've only had one. They've only had two things to actually barter with to get ahead. Which is why I've always stated that women have always been prostitutes. People hate it when I say that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a straight cash for ass transaction. I mean, they back in caveman days, they were trading to get in a cave with a warm fire to get out from the elements. They're still
Mm-hmm.
bartering with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that and the simple fact of submission, doing as instructed for the benefit of said community or people. Those are the only two things they had to barter with. because they could do nothing else. Because as Zero stated, women in actuality are a liability to society because of the simple fact the most important role they have is to help create other humans.
Well, they don't create anything.
I said
They bear
help.
them.
I said help create.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, it's just me to create because I get what you're saying. I mean,
I said help create.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
But they bring, but they do, but life does come through them.
Well, they bear.
I say come through. That's why I say come through.
Yeah, they bear children. They don't create them.
Yeah, no, that's why I said help. That's why I said help. They help in the sense that they incubate them, but but life comes through them, which is why it says, what man born of a woman, it knows nothing but sin because the simple fact. But anyways,
yeah. But that wasn't at you. I just had a problem with the word create. That's what that was.
That's why I said. That's why I put help first.
Yeah.
Because it means that they're not doing it by themselves.
Yeah. I don't mean to go all snowflake, but that was a trigger for me.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I know it because they
don't create
that to make themselves feel like gods.
Yeah, exactly. They don't create jack.
I know.
Like I said, the original phrase from Jump Street is they bear them. They don't create them.
Yeah, I know.
They get on my nerves with that, man.
Yeah, that's why whenever they say they create, I was like, no, life passes through you.
You carry it.
Right. Men and women together actually help create life. Without one, you ain't having the other. You don't get it.
Well, here's the thing. When we say life is actually in the seed. Now, when it comes to children, because if you think about it, we actually have life without them. Now, it's not a child yet, but it's what we have is life in our seed because it's alive.
Yeah, and it moves. It seeks out there.
And I had made that analogy somewhere else before because with them, the eggs they just drop and they shed. That's all they do. Ours are alive. You can see it moving. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're working. Theirs don't do that.
And it goes to just pretty much sum up the actual biological nature of both genders.
It does. It actually does. It actually does. But just going back to the overall topic, all that definitely shows the living example of serving two masters. Because like I said, on the one hand, you got the men who should be doing what men do as opposed to trying to serve the pussy. And that's why they're all fucked up because they're trying to serve two masters. The actual nature of what they're supposed to be as opposed to what they're chasing. And the same thing with women. Well, actually, maybe not, because like you said, that's their biological function. They're not serving two masters. They're just being who the hell they are. So,
But it's crazy. If society didn't pattern itself off a female mind, women would naturally serve men to survive because they would have to.
They want to.
They want to. They wouldn't be. See, as long as there's a government or an escape for them not to follow their biological need to be under a man to survive, they're not going to do it because, it's like the evil. When we talk about evil, the evil in a woman, she wants to manipulate. She wants to corrupt and manipulate and extort and all of that. And that's why as long as society gives women an option to do the wrong thing, they're going to do it because they don't function under the logical design of how creation maintains its functionality. See, women will destroy everything at the expense of a feeling.
Yep. Yes, they will.
And the thing is, they have to manipulate because when you get to the primitive functions, women can't take on the wild. Men are designed to be able to create tools to do such. Women can't do that to survive, so they have to manipulate to survive. And it was so poetic, since we're here, going back to the whole tale in the Garden of Eden. Eve knew that she was supposed to eat of the fruit, but she ate of it because of the simple fact she wanted to become God. It states that the serpent said, if you eat of it, you will be like God.
Yep.
And the thing is that it plays out in what we see today. Women want the control of everything, but they don't want to assume responsibility for the shit when it fucks up. And
But here's a
you see that
caveat.
with most people in
And
today.
here's a thought process, and this is just my assumption. I got no proof on it. This is just my assumption playing around in my head. She got that fruit. She bit the fruit. She brought one to Adam. Adam knows what that fruit was because she told him what it was, and he bit it anyway. Now, here's my thought process of how that conversation went. If you don't bite it, you ain't getting no nookie.
Here's what I think. I think it played out a little bit longer than that. I think she told him, "Hey, look, you love me. You said you love me. Are you willing to let me die alone like that? What are you gonna do without me here?"
Hey, but look, y'all both right. Hey, look, y'all both right, and this goes to the topic. Adam could have either served the Most High, or he could have served his woman.
Yep.
Who did he choose?
He chose the woman. Yep.
And that's why when God punished Adam, he said, because you hearken to the voice of
You listen
your
to
wife.
Your
woman.
I tell women all the time, they want to bring the Bible. I said biblically, a man doesn't have to listen to you because his instruction comes from his creator.
Yes.
Yep.
For his purpose, yes.
And that is why we have that analogy that the Most High is the head of man, man is the head of woman, and so on and so forth. There's a reason for that.
Exactly. And to kind of piggyback off what Sigma was going, whenever you get to her punishment, it's much harsher.
Absolutely.
When you really look at it, because it says for her that she was going to be in sorrow. First off, she already miserable. Then through that misery, she's going to seek children to have childbirth. And during that childbirth, she's going to have even more misery. And she's still in misery. She's going to seek for her man. Now, and also what they want to look over is the simple fact, and it states that he will rule over you. Yep. It is saying there that she will not ever be content unless she accepts the fact that he is ruling over her.
Yep. Your passions will run only for your husband, and that he will rule over you. Something along those lines.
Yes. Yep. It's basically what it's saying.
In other words, and these ladies not gonna like to hear this, but it's just simply, if you believe the Bible and you believe, so to speak, all of it being true, then you have to take it for what it's saying. That punishment was simply telling Eve and all women, your entire existence as a human being and as a woman is based on serving that man. That's it.
Yep.
And you know what's crazy? These churches, they would distort the truth. And I hear this happy wife, happy life narrative in the church.
That's because the church has been infiltrated by feminism.
Well, not only that, let's be honest too. We're also speaking of black churches too. The culture itself has been feminized from the jump here.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah.
So the culture itself promotes that even without the freaking church. I mean, for those that don't even follow the lifestyle, even believe or even go, the culture itself still promotes it. And to go a little further, Ice, it is ridiculous. To go a little further, I mean, it's just it's crazy to see how whenever it's promoted, this whole thing is promoted, you'll see them, they'll come in, they use God like a genie too. So there goes that hope thing that Sigma was talking about.
Yep.
To pray.
Rub the lamp 3 times.
To pray for this whole aspect of their life to happen while they still keep making the same decisions. And they teach the same thing to their children as well. So
let me say something, man. Just using base logic, it's not natural for a man to give up his controlling position. Like when you sign that contract with a woman to get married, you're basically saying that you no longer can control your life. And then when you deal with that with when you just leave it at that and you present that to men who are pro-marriage, they deflect from it 100% of the time. Yeah. And they say, or they'll say, my woman wouldn't do that. I'm like, bro.
That's why I said what I did in the beginning, because the precursor to show that you're willing to do that is bending on your knee to propose.
Yeah.
That's the precursor. That's lets her know that you're serious about giving up your power.
I mean, what man does that feel natural to? I understand you can be indoctrinated to do it, but what man does that feel natural to you to bow before, get on one knee before your woman and go buy something that's like a huge amount of your income? Think about this whole ring narrative.
Mhm.
Forget how pagan the ring is and how that came from Egyptology and some kind of paganism crap. The fact that a woman, like if you're going, like most men will go into debt
Over
for,
the rings.
yeah, over a
Yeah, yeah,
ring.
what? Yeah, wasn't the calculation like 3 months' salary or something like that?
God
And that
dang.
and here's the thing, that's a bribe. So you mean to tell me the woman wouldn't marry you unless you had to bribe her?
Mm.
And truth be told, I've seen that. Where's the ring? Or they get one and they be like, "Yeah, it's just a tiny little thing, man. He could have got something bigger." Yeah, yeah, that's exactly
So
what it
if
is.
if the woman is demanding you to bribe her to for her to want to be your woman, that's telling you what you're getting into.
Well, and not only that, to be honest, I mean, when you look at the laws, I mean, the only thing you have to bribe her with is your own dignity and pride.
Yep.
They
Hmm.
can get everything else. I mean, shout out to Zero for that. They can
Yep.
get everything else they need. The only thing you have left to bring to the table is your own dignity and pride as a man.
Yep.
And
Yep.
think about the hypocrisy and double standards of women both pushing for marriage and the fact that they can be sluts and not be slut shamed. He got women pushing for both of those. They want the rights to be married, but they also want the right to not be slut shamed. How can
But
those
see,
both exist?
because this is how it works. They're not they're not getting. They don't want the man for marriage. They want the man for the wedding.
Of
Are they
course.
wanting for a sponsor?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Yeah, no, yeah. You're right. It's still a sponsorship, but think about it as a whole. They want the big 50, 60,
Oh
seventy
yeah,
thousand
true.
dollar wedding to floss for everybody
Stage
who's
and
coming.
spotlight. Yeah.
But after that wedding's over, she wants to go back to being the slut. She
And,
she just wants the benefits. You know what I'm saying? Which it's what they
and
do. But it goes even like I said, it goes outside of that. Once she gets that, she's reverting right back to what she quote unquote was before he put the ring on it. It's for the wedding and flossing more than anything else, and getting to be sponsored for a lifestyle that she couldn't do herself.
and see that's what gets me is because these type of women that lavish for weddings and the whole point of getting a gown and being, so to speak, married and all, that behavior, if a man truly understands how to decipher it, the scripture talks about being able to know someone's spirit by their fruits. That behavior definitely shows itself leading up to the wedding day. So is I find it comical when I hear some of these guys of, man, she didn't start acting like this until the wedding or after the wedding. And it's just like, bro,
Yeah, right.
even though she tried her best to hide it,
She
her
was.
true self always comes out in some form or fashion. You
But see, the
just did not
only
want, I would just say, you just did not want to look hard enough for it.
right. But see, here's the thing, though. The only way men are going to be able to have that ability is if they do what myself and Hope talks about. You got to be disciplined. You got to remove
Hmm.
yourself from it. You can't be chasing pussy. As a matter of fact, take a break from it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
Master yourself.
once you do and you start becoming disciplined and step away from it, you can see it for what it really is, and then you can start being more discernible without having stuff blocking or clouding your judgment. But like I said, a lot of brothers, let's be real, don't want to do that. They
And
can't
and
quote unquote live without it. You
and
feel what I'm
let me
saying?
tell you
You're
something.
right
And let me
about
tell you
that.
something. Let me tell you something about the dating, because a lot of times, dudes, some I didn't see it until you got married. But let's talk about what dating really means in this culture. Dating means you meet a woman that you know is sexually promiscuous at the time you're dating her, and again, here's that bribe. You're bribing her because we all know that women, when they like you, they show they like you. So when you go around and you're dating these women always while because let's be real, these women are not sitting around praying and hoping and wishing. They're out here living their best life, having a lot of sex and doing all these things. So you get into this woman's life. She's acting like she's just sitting around waiting for you, and you came and you're taking her on her dates. And, and the date isn't the commitment. Once you're dating, those women say we're just dating. They're basically saying I'm not committed. You're still convincing me while I'm doing what I want to do. So you're basically pouring into this woman's your resources while she's still open to be free to do, and you still have to convince her why she needs to give up her whole lifestyle to actually give you the illusion that she wants to be a wife. This is crazy, man. It's crazy because that's why these dudes, if you look up the infidelity rate within marriages, it's crazy high. Like, let's look at this. How many we look at 51 will end in divorce. And then we realize that after that, the rest of them are like, what is it? A lot of people who are married are miserable. They're miserable. So even the marriages that do last, there's a high infidelity rate, and they're miserable. So why can't guys just realize that marriage is against you? It's just a extortion, legal extortion situation for that woman to situationally get what she wants from you by selling you a lie and continuing on her. Because as long as society allows women to be whores without societal or cultural consequences, it's going to continue to happen. Society, it's not up to a man to have to wrestle back and forth with a woman who's legally empowered with the same thing you are. Society has.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say society. See, men as a whole were supposed to institute a structure where women had cultural and societal consequences for not, moving the way we want them to move in society. But go ahead, you got it.
No, what I was going to say is that one of the main problems, and this again goes back to discipline. The same way women have their biological functions, we as men have our biological functions, and that is to eventually get a woman and have progeny. I mean, that's part of our biological function as well. And I think that's where the discipline comes in, because without it, you've got men who are just jumping into anything that comes their way,
right?
Without again, like you said, without doing discernment, without vetting, without processing, who you're dealing with. Like I've told many men many men before, dude, you check everything. You check everything. And not just the simple stuff like how many bodies she's got, ex-boyfriend. No, you check her family. You check her mother. You check her father. If she ain't got a father, right out the gate, that's a huge ass red flag. And you just start going down the list. But like I said, that biological imperative and that need to be all about nothing but pussy just overrides the brain.
Yeah, and you know what else is crazy? And I tell dudes all the time, like I've been on panels, where women will sit there, and I'm not talking to them, but they'll say, "Well, men are supposed to provide," and I was like, and my answer to that is that the women, you gave up their right when you fought to be legally equal to a man, when you fought for the right to compete with his jobs, to make just as much money and have just as much legal power as he does. From a logical standpoint, that was you saying, I can provide for myself. And so just with this egalitarian society we in, marriage doesn't make sense. Because why do we need to provide for a woman that can do the same things we can do? And that's what women are saying. I don't need you. And if you look at the reflex and response that women are doing, they're giving that from the legality. I'm a strong, independent, single mother. I don't need a man. Women are telling you that they're choosing the egalitarian society over the actual true marriage design that has male rulership and legal authority. And so they've corrupted they've corrupted and destroyed an actual marriage and recreated it in the image of a partnership. But men don't. There's no partnership. That's a word that the alternative lifestyle community and stupid men want to engage in. A partnership? No. That's what men are engaging in, a partnership, and that's why they don't control anything, and that's why the woman can walk away, and she's still legally superior because she can walk away with more of what you have by doing less.
Yep. Yep. Because at the end of the day, man, they fail to understand that. Look, in the proper way it works. A marriage is supposed to be one of two choices, and only one of two choices. And that's what and it both involves the men being at the head. That's either a monarchy or a dictatorship.
Yep.
They want to make this a democracy. There is no democracy in marriage. There's none.
Nope. No.
None.
And it's actually for the betterment of.
And they're trying to convince people that's how it works. And it's the same thing with this country. When I talk about when I talk to people about this country or politics or whatever, well, we're in a democracy. Well, that you're an idiot because this is a republic. I mean, you're not. I mean, you don't even do your own homework, man. I mean, and that's the case here. They're trying to convince everybody that marriage is a partnership, marriage is a democracy, and all that good stuff. And it's not. It never has been.
No. Marriage has always really been an employer and employee situation.
Bottom line, yeah.
I mean, really, it has.
Bottom line, yeah.
And even when you look at it from a biblical standpoint, it said that he gave man dominion to rule. It even states in her punishment that she would desire the man who ruled over her. So it goes to show that there is a power structure, and that she's to bend the knee to that man, regardless of what values he holds. It even says that, even forgot where in there later. I have to look again, but she's supposed to stay there. I mean, you chose this dude. This is who you felt you had most in common with. So look, ain't no backing out now. I mean, this is who you wanted and who you wanted to see you, to be with you. So, I mean, you're not supposed to really even just jump out like that from that aspect. Go ahead.
And you know what's crazy? And I tell dudes all the time, I get more respect. I get more of what I want when I deal with women under my circumstances, and I avoid, because as women for the most part, women push for marriage, women push for children, because when you're you're ruling yourself according to your masculine principles, you're too busy trying to build something. You're too busy trying to master yourself. You're too busy trying to develop yourself to have an impact on the world. Thinking about a woman is too small for a man. It's too small.
Be the last thing on the priority list, to be honest.
Yeah,
you're trying to make an impact on the world. You're seeing what's happening in the world, and you want to basically use your will to make the world more beneficial not more functional and beneficial to you as a man to do what you need to do. Mm-hmm. And see, dudes are thinking so small. They're thinking about a woman, and they're like, look, the woman is bringing you into a world that allows her, that empowers her to keep men down, because it went to what you said, Lawrence. The government wants to empower women and people with illogical mindsets, because they were instinctively begged for more government control over responsibility. They will just beg to be a victim. They will beg to help us. And what the government's going to do is going to sell you a lie. It's going to tell you, yeah, we care about you. And then it's going to institute more lies that's going to reveal themselves as a power grab. Mm-hmm. And that's why women don't realize, okay, the government's taking care of you. The government giving you a house, but the government controls what your kids do. The government you got to check in with the government when you get your house. You got to do all these things. If the government says you need to go to do X, Y, and Z, you got to do X, Y, and Z to keep what you got.
No, and here's the thing where I kind of the women realize it's spiritual hope. They just don't care. The whole thing about their nature is manipulation. So in manipulation, you have to remove that caring aspect, so you can manipulate someone enough to get what you desire. I mean, there's no other way.
And that's why men, like Lauren said, we have to be disciplined to be unmovable and unfazed. I tell dudes, I don't think about what a woman does, because I make sure it doesn't affect me. I make sure it doesn't affect me. My life is structured that a woman can bring anything she wants, and it will not even infiltrate nothing in my life, because I have not bought into any of these little traps that women use to be able to legally influence you. Mm-hmm. And I can just simply walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the same thing with me. Like I said, I don't interact with them at all in any capacity. And the thing about it is that, and it was unintentional, but I come to the realization, I always knew it, but I didn't pay attention to what was going on around me when I started doing that. One of the greatest weapons a man has against a woman being foolish is by ignoring her. They can't
Yep.
take that.
The
Yep.
They
attention.
can't.
Indifference.
They can't take that. The ignoring her and indifference. They
Yeah,
cannot
attention.
take it. They cannot take it, and that's why I have so many who are always coming at me all the time for that very reason. And we saw that play out twice in real time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean,
you know, so, and that's where the discipline thing comes in, and that's why I always say, I don't ask, and I don't tell men to do anything that I'm not willing to do. Okay,
Mhm.
or either I'm not willing to do, I haven't done, or I'm not doing right now. Because that makes me a piss poor excuse for a man. So when I say it, it's not even a sense that I'm not even trying to get at women when I say that. I'm trying to get at men because they need to be better.
Here's the thing, man.
And I know what you're going to say. They just don't want to accept. And I get that. I get it. I get it. I get it.
You
They don't
just
want
gotta. Hey, look, I say, look, you just gotta let these mugs burn.
Yeah,
You gotta, you
and
gotta
I've said that before too. Just let it burn. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you ain't got no choice but to let them go down. They want to go down with the ship. Hey, look, go on ahead, go down. Hey, we'll holler at you.
I mean, I've been hearing brothers talking about, yeah, well, you know, the economy's getting bad. You know what I'm saying? It gets worse and yada yada. These females will fall back in line. I'm like, you stupid.
Yeah,
That is not
Oh
what's going to
yeah.
happen.
they only get on program when they have no other choice.
And some of them would actually just scream burning.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
will just.
And what? Oh, go ahead, Alt.
No, you got it.
I was going to say, and that's what's puzzling for me. If you as a man is literally waiting for society to hit rock bottom for these type of women to suddenly give you attention, sir,
Yeah.
that says more about you than it does them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does, and that's why I said before. Like I said, I've said it plenty of times. Let it burn to the ground. Let it burn. But I'm not saying it for the reasons they're saying it. Not even close. I'm saying
Hey,
it because that's just how it has to be. And again, we've seen this in multiple societies over the course of history and time on this planet. There's no other way for it to get corrected.
Yeah.
But they're not looking at it from that perspective. They're
and let
looking
me
at it again from the perspective of, okay, this is a chance to get pussy. I mean, it's just all they're doing.
and let me tell you this. Have y'all noticed the uptick in homeless women?
Oh yeah.
And,
Oh
and let me
yeah.
tell you something. That lets you know that they won't get
Uh-oh.
in line because a lot of women are now at the point where they're just so narcissistic and self-absorbed until they will just. I've never seen this many homeless women before. I've
Nope.
just never seen it. They're actually
Never.
out there. And you think with a woman defaulting to prostitution, they're still homeless.
And think about this in the full scheme, building off of what Hope just said. Think about it from this perspective, because I was watching some videos last night. You're telling me the level of narcissism in play would have a woman take her children and force them to live in a car while in the evenings she leaves them alone to go prostitute, as opposed to
Right.
simply submitting to a man and falling in line. Think about
Yep.
that.
Yeah, that's deep.
I mean, think about the mentality that takes to make that choice.
That's deep.
And
Wow.
this is what they want us to submit to. Think about this. I mean, and I'm not just saying it to say it. I really want brothers to think deep about that shit. You're talking about they want us to submit to women who have these type of thought processes. That it is far better for them to live in a car with their children and leave their children alone in the car at night while they go out and prostitute
The strangers. Yep.
because they need money. That is a far better choice for them than simply submitting and being a proper type of woman in a marriage. Think about that.
Wow.
That is some crazy shit, my dude. That's beyond narcissism.
And that's why it's not about, what circumstances do you need be more extreme than that to realize that you doing the wrong thing?
Yeah. And even if you can't do that, and I'm not saying all men are great. I'm not. But what I'm saying is this. At the very least, most men won't do that. The vast majority of men won't do that. Even if it means being separated, they'll take that kids and leave them at grandma's house or leave them with an uncle or a brother or a cousin. and they'll live in the car. They won't put their kids through that. At the very least, that's us. Okay, on average, that at the very least, that's us. For them, that's not an option. Dude, think about that. Think about it. And these are the broads they want us to bend the knee to, put a ring on, and bring home, and supposedly trust. Oh
You're
my
right.
dude, no, there's no way, man. There's no way.
And trust needs to be a whole different stream, man. Because let me tell you something. There's a misconception with trust. You're not actually supposed to trust people. And let me tell you why. The scriptures in this Jeremiah 17:5, it says, "Cursed is the man that trusts in the man and uses flesh as his arm." All right. Trust is only for the Most High, because the Most High has a logical design of how we should live outside of our nature, outside of our evil nature. Because the evil nature of a person convolutes God's logical design. Like an illogical person thinks they can eat without working. So God says, don't trust that. That's illogical thinking. My way is, no, if you want to eat, you have to work. But people want to trust in a logical, because people, women always say, do you trust me? I'm like, the only person who's asking you, do they trust them, is the person who has no evidence to prove themselves trustworthy.
Like trying to get over on you.
Because, and it's the same thing with love. Most people don't realize that the Bible says, do not love in tongue or speech, but in deed and truth. What do women say most of anything? I love you. I love you.
Ooh.
You know why? Because if a woman was showing you consistently, she wouldn't have to say it.
Yep.
Like
and don't forget, in scripture there's a comment where it says, men love your wives, women respect your husbands. There's a reason for that, because women can't understand. Women can't love because they don't understand sacrifice.
And what is love biblically?
Following the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High.
Exactly. So the standard that you determine how you treat somebody is based on what love is. It's never been an emotion. It's never been an emotion. It's actually you treating someone according to the same standard that you know is right.
Actions.
And if there's no standard to that, you're just lying. And that's what women do. They tell you something they will never show. And you're sitting around waiting, hoping for something that doesn't have a track record to give. And this is where I want men to get in the Bible and just get out of the indoctrination, because these are the type of things, if you understood the true context of love from a biblical perspective, of trust from a biblical perspective, you're not trusting hope. You're trusting actual laws and actual proven things that you would know where, my greatest evidence that the Bible is a beneficial book for me is because when I implement it in my life, everything goes right.
Yeah. Real quick, Grande.
Yeah.
They have any? I'm not talking about them like they have importance or logic. Come on, this is me, man. I don't give a rat's ass.
I think the thing is you use soft nigga voice whenever you say it.
Actually, I did, and there's a reason for that, and it has nothing to do with them. It's about you and your channel being respectful. That's what that was.
Oh, we know Lawrence can go in. We know that.
Yeah. I know it.
Oh, and, no, I don't give a rat's ass. I don't give a damn.
Yeah. And look, you know me, we can keep it candid on here. My whole thing is, I said it from the jump, from my first actual stream, where I said that
okay. Stupid. He is so stupid.
I said it to you. Hey, look,
stupid.
Give me a minute. And here's the thing. This is what I said. To me, as far as I'm concerned, the only purpose that they have is to serve my purpose. If she serves no purpose, if she's not serving my purpose, she serves no purpose whatsoever.
That's exactly what it is.
Remember what I said before? Eisen, on this channel?
No, I ain't gonna lie.
I have greater respect for a beast of burden than I do them.
I remember now.
Because I can profit from a beast of burden. I can get something positive out of it.
And let's say this. Let me caveat real quick. Let's be honest. Women who actually do serve men, like rightfully, they have more peace.
Oh yeah.
Like we look at the bitter, especially the bitter black woman syndrome. It's because these women are fighting what's actually going to give them peace. Women don't know what's even good for them. They don't know what's good for children. They don't know what's good for them. They don't know what's good for anything. They're
because
just
they are children.
Yeah, they're blind and reckless and random and chaotic. And so oftentimes when a woman wants to assume authority in her own life, she's most miserable. She's most miserable. You see, I'm a strong, independent black woman. How do they say it? They say it with bitterness. They say it with disdain for men. They say it with because look, look, you're just not cut out to do what you're thinking. And because just because society gave you a platform to be wrong, doesn't mean wrong is going to feel good. And it's like they just want to fight that. And like we say, we don't care. Look, man, and when women come to my life, they already understand the only way you're getting close to me is you're doing what I want you to do. You're already doing it, and you're already loving doing it. They not do it reluctantly. They're not doing it burdensomely. They're doing it because they want to do it. Because I don't leave room for anything else. And see, that's the way I'm trying to pattern men to say, look, if a woman really don't even let a woman near you that doesn't want to be on your program, that wants to fit in your purpose. Why is she even near you?
My thing is, I wouldn't deal with one that isn't going to invest in me and my purpose. Period. Um, I mean, that's just how I am. I mean, if you ain't going to invest in me, I ain't got time for you.
Like this whole dating thing is just stupid to me. You mean to tell me as any qualified man, he's already has results and evidence that he's a qualified man in life. He has things going on. You have nothing to prove to a woman on a date, except for that you're stupid. That's the only
Yep.
thing you can prove to a woman on a date is that you're stupid. Because if you're actually a man, you've actually qualified yourself on every level already. She can see that, and when a woman really sees it, she's already offering herself and hoping that you you care.
Or
But this
any woman that accepts a date from you has already shown that that she's looking to get something. Because
exactly
that's why I because let's look at those dating apps. I mean, swipe left, swipe right, and all that crap. She goes through hundreds of men, and then she chooses you to go on a date with. She's already figured something out, and now she's looking to get her hands in the pot. I mean, let's be real about that. And any man who finds himself being chosen by any women on those apps should know that going in.
right.
Because you
Yeah.
got to ask yourself, out of hundreds of men, you chose me. My question is why? That's how I work.
It's so crazy, man. The only thing a woman is testing is to see if you're stupid. That's the only thing a woman's testing you for is to see how much she can get over for you. Because honestly, when you promote yourself as look, as a man who doesn't take any nonsense, is impervious to manipulation and all that, the next thing that woman's doing, she just drops to her knees or she's doing whatever you want her to do. Because she understands that she has to continually prove herself worthy to be in your presence continually. It doesn't stop. But the moment you give her a space to say she's valuable in your life, she's going to play it.
Yep.
That's why I tell you, don't ever lead off with a date with a woman. Do not ever do that. Don't offer anything. Your
I
presence,
don't.
if your presence isn't qualified enough for who you built yourself and developed yourself to be, then she's trying to play you, bro.
Yeah. And then you know my response: don't do it at all.
Exactly. Exactly.
don't
Because
don't 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 date, don't interact, don't talk, nothing. That's always gonna be my answer.
and to Lauren's situation, let me tell you something. The more focused I am in life, women find ways to put themselves in my way when I'm not
I
even looking
told
for it.
them that. I told them that because I had said that a couple of times because I had said, look, if you on your purpose and you do what you're supposed to and you build yourself up internally and externally, you don't have to chase women. They will find you. They got built-in radar for that shit.
And that's the natural instinct. That's what they are designed to be like. It's just that society is giving them a false way of a false is allowing their illogical mind to actually have power when it shouldn't. But in the realist mind, men should be too busy doing what they want to do, whatever it is. Women are going to jump in their way. They're going to put on their short outfits. They're going to seduce you when you're busy. They're going to do that. You don't have to go seeking that. They're going to do it. It's like, man, just think about it, man. Do anything that you do and build yourself into a man that is worthy of your meeting your standards and all that. Women are gonna be like, I had women walk up to me one time and I'm in the store. She got her best shortest dress on, and I'm sitting there. I'm really trying to do what I'm doing, and this woman is trying very hard to distract me. I've seen women bend all the way over, showing their whole ass cheeks in there, looking back and then keep bending over. They didn't look. They didn't get up fast. I'm telling you, man. We're basically allowing society to spiral out of control giving women something that they don't even like. They shouldn't even matter. They shouldn't. They don't matter. And I know that
They
sounds
don't.
harsh for a lot of people, but they don't matter.
No, but it's the
Women
truth though.
women are going to prove. It's on the burden of women to prove themselves. It's not on
Yep.
us.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yep.
Marco.
Hey, Marco, what's up, man?
What's good, Marco?
What's up, Marco?
Shalom, shalom.
What's up? What's up?
Good
You
afternoon.
promised to use your soft voice. Now let me stop.
Marco ain't got no soft voice.
I am going.
Marco just straight real.
I'm actually going to. I can't do that. I'm sorry.
I know you can't. I know you can't.
You good, man?
It is who you are.
I'm just messing with you, man.
I know.
You good.
I'd be
You good.
disingenuous if I would. I have to express myself, especially with something that, whatever you find, interest or passion about. I think it's important that you're real,
Mhm.
because that's what it is. And I think, have you guys heard me enough on panels?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to become out as fake. But anyway, I think that what Hulk just said, shout out Hulk, was very important at the end, that they don't really matter. I think that's very important because a lot of the people don't really want to say that. I
Yeah.
feel that I feel and see, forget I feel, I see, and I am sure, and I am positive, and there's evidence, ocular and otherwise, that the majority of men are compromised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the point that for them to say that they don't matter, or my favorite motto, they're just holes, they're afraid to say that. They're afraid to internalize that and really see if what it is, and they just try to dress it up as something more than what it is. They're just holes. They really don't matter. Oh, that's really what it is, because
And they
men
get
are the
wet.
ones.
And they get wet when a man says the truth. Let me tell you something, Marco. You tell him, bro.
Yes.
They do. And just to make a slight correction, Marco, just a slight correction. It has been said. I've been saying it. You've been saying it. Logic has been saying it. And there's a whole lot of other people.
Yeah, and I call them prostitutes.
I was going to say it, Eisen, as well. The only difference is we use different words when we say it, but we are literally saying the same thing. They don't matter. They don't matter. And I think the issue here is that, and again, speaking earlier on me with my frustrations, how many times can it be said before I have to stop talking to the same brothers because they're not getting it?
But and then what I see what I hear is a lot, and you're right. I've heard Eisen say it. I've heard spiritual, and I've heard you, and I've screamed and I've yelled it, and I wrote it in caps, so quite a few times. But what I see most of the time is that, unfortunately, and even whenever you start the conversation, it seems as if always shifts towards, well, they don't do this, and they don't do that, and they don't think this way, and they don't act this way. Who the hell cares?
Right.
And that's
I see. Okay, I see your point.
That's
Okay, I see where you're coming from now.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're right.
Yeah. The only thing I control is what I say and think and do.
Yeah.
So with everybody else,
right, and that's what frustrates me. And that's what frustrates me when really, if we're gonna say they really don't matter, it doesn't really matter what they think, because in the end, the men are the ones that have created this wonderful civilization and everything that we enjoy and that we live. Anything from, you can name it, from technology to philosophy and everything else. So then, why do we have to always talk about that and try to give it some kind of importance or logic or place when we all established that they really don't matter?
Yeah.
So that's my frustration. That's my frustration. That's all.
Yeah, and last night I had a little bit of it myself, because, like I said, over on Agon's, I had did that because I kept saying it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yes, you did.
And I kept saying it over and over because I was starting to feel it myself.
Yeah.
Because why talk about them? We already know everything.
And that's the thing, and that's the point. Into spiritual, and I've heard him a couple of times. Shout out Hulk, and I've heard him, and we've spoken a couple of times, and we're in agreement, even in the chat, that in the end, like I said, they don't really matter. Then why the hell do you always try to, like I said, give them some type
leeway?
of? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say leeway.
Yes, or just like or just like the relevance, in the sense of, well, they don't, and they should, and they won't, and they should.
Yeah.
That's why I don't buy into this high value thing, because what they're saying is that it's a certain level a man can get to that will actually make a woman matter, and it is not. there's no level like that.
But still,
They
I'm
don't
saying,
matter.
I just don't like. I personally, you heard me personally from you.
Yeah.
Right? You've heard me.
Yeah.
Obviously I enjoy the company of women. I do. I enjoy. Okay, quite a bit. But as a sense that of what I am, of what I do, and what I will do, and what I have done, there's no importance whatsoever, other than exactly what I want and what I want to do with it. Now,
Yeah.
for me to sit here and say, "Well, they don't do it, they never," and that,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it seems as that particular part of the conversation gets drowned out. I think because either the compromise or some, and a lot of the times, depending on where we are, it's because they're a lot of the men that do it, they're trying to show off for a certain people that are on the panel or on the chat.
I'm gonna be honest. I think most are compromised, Marco.
Yeah.
They actually believe this shit. I know no other way to say it. They actually believe in that value being more than that.
But see,
And
it's partly our fault as well, because let's be real, we just sat here for over an hour talking about people that don't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, we did. I
Thank
agree.
you very
That
much.
is
Thank
true.
you.
I agree.
Thank you.
But
I agree. I agree.
I wanted to highlight something with Marco because I've kind of noticed this with some of his detractors. Because you see, that whole high value argument that the space has really just took by the wings and just going cuckoo gaga over and everything. Marco is showing you that what, I'm just a regular guy doing my own thing, and these women are coming into my world. I'm not going into their world, they're coming into my world. And see, for a lot of men, like I mentioned earlier, they have been so beaten, emasculated, and indoctrinated so that anything that requires a man just to be his own self and to not monkey dance and not have
You're
to
right.
put on a show just to get a female attention is so foreign to them.
They don't believe it exists. They actually
True.
think that you have to. No, man. I work for women. I work for this. I work for that. I do this. I'm like, we're not even thinking about women, man. Women, look, a man like what Marco said, bro. It's women are nice to. They're like playthings. They're like playthings.
The toys.
Yeah, and that's and
Tools
honestly,
for you to be used. To be used. I mean, that's
and
it.
women actually want to be that. That's why they play that role. When you see a woman out and about, what is she doing? What is she showing you? She's trying to lure and seduce men to look at her. All right. Now she's doing that because she knows she has to. Because men are not going to just seek her out just because she's walking. So she has to try to get men to look at her by basically offering herself.
Yeah, but
And-
that's please, I'm sorry.
You say what?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're finished. Sorry.
Oh no, because I mean, look, man, it's women actually. It's crazy, and the main reason I do join these conversations is because I want men to wake up, and I think this ignorance that men are having, this overvaluing of women, is actually having a legal effect on everybody. Like it's actually getting to the point where laws are being in place where men can't work in their environments, where these dumb fools out here are actually causing legal implications for their stupidity. And that's the only reason I'm going to stand up and say, look, y'all complaining about the marriage laws, you're complaining about child support laws, but you're playing into that. You playing into that is why women feel like they can go beg the government to force you to do something because you care too much. You're overvaluing her. You don't realize you're afraid. Like, look, I don't have any kids, and I'm never getting married because marriage doesn't exist in this system. You can get everything. Like, if I can get everything I wanted from a woman on my terms without engaging in any of that, I'm just saying I don't need to do it. And matter of fact, when women realize I maintain my freedom, I gotta say my freedom like a slave. But when I maintain my sovereignty over my life, they actually value that. It's like, wow, this guy he gets it. And
oh my bad, keep going.
I was gonna say that they actually want more of my time, and I actually have to bring them away. I'm like, look, I'm busy right now, because they have to be around me more because they can't. They actually just respect it. They can't do anything else to control me. I got it.
And I was gonna say, into one of the things, about what Marco, his whole lifestyle. Nobody, there's not many people that actually acknowledge and realize that one thing that I noticed about and respect about his lifestyle, and I like about mine, it's the freedom
Mm,
to be able to do what you choose that aligns with your own goals or your own standards when you choose to do it, and
Exactly.
not having to answer to anyone for that. There's no woman that, oh well, I got to worry about my wife, I got to worry about these kids. None of that. You can do according to your own standards. And I think a lot of people, most guys, don't notice it. I don't think they notice that the freaking hoes. And so they miss that key component of what he's trying to teach.
I agree.
no, it's,
I mean,
no, you're right, I said, and that's the thing. So when but what Hawk said and what Lon said, that's when you said that overvalue them, I say you undervalue yourself
yeah,
because it's really and I always try to I guess be you know not just teach by words or just give examples by words but by actions and I've been you've been hearing me talk for a year now and it hasn't changed and it won't change and I don't think that I would tell her I'm not special. There's nothing special about me and prior to the conversation we are having earlier. There's nothing special about me, other than the fact that I value myself a lot. I put myself in a great position that I can have, and to use that word, freedom or choices
yep. You're
on
simply
on a
living as a
lifestyle.
man.
Yeah, on a lifestyle or whatever it is that desires that I have. I live them. I don't limit them by, and they're not dictated by whether it's the opposite sex or most of the times just peer pressure, societal tendencies. I try to just say, no, what exactly do I want? Okay, this is what most people are doing. Well, that's good for them, but I don't want to do that. This is what I want to do. Oh, we don't like it. Hey, that's too bad. I do. That's, so I wish that more people would take that because it sounds as if by them doing what they think that they should be doing or what people say that they should be doing or what has been done in the past, they don't look happy. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah, and they're not happy. It's not that they don't look happy; they're not happy. They're very miserable. The guys are becoming more miserable than the women now, and it's like as much as I will point out the legality about anything, I don't have any issues with women because they don't affect me. I get what I want from them, and they don't bother my life. They don't change my course. They don't detract from my focus. They don't do anything because I'm maintaining my mind and my lifestyle as a man, and that's as simply it is. When men are thinking right and we moving right, the
Mhm.
women don't matter. And it's
Mhm.
like I will say it over and over again. That's this part of being a man. These guys don't understand what actually being a man is, and it's actually in that context, women just they can't matter in that scenario, and that's a good thing because why would a man being unfocused and distracted be a good thing? Because when you make a woman matter, then you're saying you don't. It's like back to that two masters. Who are you serving? You or her?
Well, if you listen to some of these men in the spaces that have you believe that your manhood is based off of what kind of women you attract. And again, it just shows the backwardness of the external validation these men seek in finding some purpose in their life. Like a
And I'm
woman, we already know that her purpose in life is to serve a man. So you as the man, you have more free will to decide what direction you want to go in life. But instead, you decide that, well, I'm going to switch it around and my purpose will be to serve her. No wonder
Mm,
why society is dysfunctional as it is. Because when you have people who, one is willing to play their role, talk about the woman, but the one that should be leading, he rather takes a back seat. and just, so to speak, be in a woman's world rather than create his own world. No wonder why you have men that's so backwards in thinking that, if a woman is being submissive, there's something wrong.
Yeah. And the thing is, you'll see these putos, as Marco would call them, they, to the very fact of what you're saying, Sigma Jones, that they're willing to take a back seat. I mean, really,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
you'll literally see it in the chat, and you'll hear it too.
Yeah, and it's sad.
And let me add this. Saying a woman doesn't matter, even in the context of you having a family, is for the benefit of the family.
Mhm.
Because when you allow the woman to matter, then you're not actually controlling your family and upholding the protections and the logical things you need to do for your family to maintain functional. When you focus on a woman in the family, you're destroying everybody. And that's women don't look for a woman to actually give you that. She's never going to admit that. She's just going to let everything burn and still blame it on you. And that's what these guys don't realize. Even in the family, your woman should not matter. And then that's even harder for these dudes to understand. But that just means that as a man, you need to maintain sovereignty to make sure that things go the way you need them to go, the way they should go.
Yeah.
And keep in mind also that it has nothing to do with just being married, because if you divorce, they still end up blaming you.
Yep.
Or if they're baby mama too.
Even if you're not there anymore, even if they went their separate ways or whatever have you made, whatever they got into after you're gone, it's your fault.
And
can I please say something? Can I please say something?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry.
Please. No, it's fine. Please. I mean, and I know this is also not said enough. Dude, use condoms, fellas.
Yes,
Condoms, man. Come on.
Put that hat on, man.
How stupid are you? How idiotic are you? I mean, how, dude?
They are. They're very idiotic.
Dude, I was telling you guys, I'm showing you the 100 and 200 pack that I purchased. They come up to 17 cents each one.
Yep.
Dude, I mean, think about it. You use 5. That's still under 60, 70 cents, man. I mean, to protect yourself.
Marco,
it's still cheaper in the long run too.
Yeah. Marco, that reminds me.
And when you're done, take it with you.
Yeah.
Marco, that reminds me of the scene off of a Soldier Story when Sergeant Waters was saying when they slit the man's throat, he turned around and asked, what did he do wrong? That's how I feel with some of these guys that just go into these females raw, and then all of a sudden they're shocked to find out there's a baby on the way. It's like, bro, you need to be euthanized for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you out there raw dogging. What did you think was going to happen?
I mean, it is. I don't understand. I really don't understand it. I don't. And if you get down to and if you want to get down to, okay, yes, a baby is. I always think is the second worst thing that could happen to you. I think you getting sick is the worst thing that could happen to you.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's logical thinking.
Yes,
I mean, it's like, I mean, it's like I always think, okay, for some reason, if it's a baby, which is a cost, a burden, economical and otherwise on you, that's one thing. But a health issue, serious health issue, you can't get around that one.
Yeah.
But Marco, their mind, they worship women, so they don't think of negative consequences when they associate with a woman. Everything is good, everything is right. See, they're thinking about her more than they're thinking about themselves, and that's the issue.
I just don't hear it. Yeah, and I like I said, I learned that watching everybody else around me. Like I said, got a cousin with 9 kids. Like I said, my sister's got 5. None of them belong to the man she's married to for over 20 years. I'm like, I watched it. Yeah. I wore a hat every time. The only time I didn't wear a hat with my children is because my children come from the women I married, not just from some chick I had a fling with. You feel what I'm saying? That was a choice. Choice.
I wired my mind that I can't even enjoy sex without making sure I'm protected. Mm-hmm. That's how wired I am. I was like, I have more pleasure with the condom on than without of it, because the peace of mind and just knowing that I'm secure in this. Yeah, I'm safe, man. I enjoy it way more.
Yeah, I did.
That's exactly what I mean. That's my
Yeah.
point. And there's nothing that we can really come back and say to you, because I think I've told you, probably, it's probably happened to me once that some dumb asshole said that to me. Hey, you know what? I'm pregnant. Like, why get your ass in the car? Let's go. Let's go to the clinic right now. Let's go see this shit. I want to see this.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And
I said, let's go to the clinic right now. I want to see this shit. I wasn't like, what are you talking about? Hey, let's go to the clinic. Let's go right now. Come on. Well, you don't believe me? Get your ass in the car. Let's go.
Hell no, we don't believe
I
you.
didn't even answer. Let's get in the car. Let's go.
We gonna
Why
prove
wouldn't you believe me? Get in the car and let's go.
Yep. And that's why they're running joke with me, because like after a certain point in time, after my kids, I went and got and I know it's not common for men, and they got issues with it, but I had a vasectomy. And I make it a point. I don't care what woman it is, she's never gonna know, because as soon as she pulled that card on me, I'm pregnant. So like, yeah.
Well, let me ask you. This is something
for you, kid.
This is something I've been considering. Now, let me ask you, like, truthfully, like, if when you get a vasectomy, did you notice any change in your sexual behavior or your sexual? Did you notice any difference at all?
Your performance.
No.
Yeah, or performance, or desires, or readiness, or anything.
No, not me. I haven't noticed a thing.
Because that's always been my fear about it. Yeah, just because when you our experiences when I had dogs, like, well, if you neuter them, you know what I mean, you're gonna screw them up, or they get they lose all day. So I never really had somebody. I never really asked, and the people that have asked have been evasive. All the ones that I've known that have had it, they're married or they're older, or they're just not sexually active. So it's like they're never really gonna tell me.
No. I got as a matter of fact, it's almost 18 and a half years now since I had it done. No, I've had no issues, none. I mean, I don't know if that's the standard, but I haven't had any.
Yeah, because that's always been my personal fear about it. That you will ruin that that part of you.
No, I hear a lot of guys say that.
Yeah.
That's nothing new. I've heard it before. It's not just you.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, that cousin with 9 kids, I've been trying to tell him to do it, and that's his argument. Well, it's going to change my performance, or I can't do this, I can't do that.
Yeah,
I gave him the same thing I gave you. There's 18 and a half years. There has been no noticeable difference that I'm aware of.
Well, in the meantime, fellas, I'm just saying, fellas, protect yourself, brothers. Marco,
I've been telling dudes to wear hats forever, my dude, forever.
But
What's up, Savage?
I just don't hear it. I just don't like that. I don't hear it. People like say it and repeat it enough times, and I've said it. But nobody takes me seriously. I joke around, and I shown the packs. I show the 100 packs, the 200 packs. I show them all, and I even have. Remember, sometimes I've camped up with the chicks holding them. I mean, this ridiculous. Why you would not? And I would say, respect yourself.
Yeah, and like I said, on top of that, when you're done, take it with you.
yeah. Like I said, you can empty it with you, and you can do it. I always tell there's some personal. I never even finish in the hole with it on. I always pull the hell out because I want to make sure that shit is not leaking or anything. I actually ejaculate myself so I can watch myself. I give myself that pleasure too, right in front of the hole. Because I don't want that bullshit. I don't want that peace of mind that it buzzed and it leaked and it did. I don't even want to try to get it. And what Hulk said, peace of mind, man. I do not worry about it. So when a dumb Hulk comes back and says, hey, I'm pregnant, all right, let's go. Let's see this shit. I want to see this shit. I want to see if that's fucking Houdini that got out of that fucking straight jacket.
Yeah. And Emin Perry, I see you in the chat, man. Nah, not even close. I know where I stick my shit, and I know who, man. I've never been that type of person. I'm not running out there like that.
No, I'm gonna protect yourself, Scott.
So what's good, Savage?
Yeah, what's good, Savage?
Oh, not too much. Just listening to you guys give advice that I wish I would have taken back in the day.
Yeah, I think we all would agree with that.
We all got to learn the curve, man.
Yeah, that's why I don't mind having Marco on, man. He's going to drop some factual bombs that are needed, and I always appreciate his perspective, to help, hey, that mind that reality check.
So what you saying? The rest of us ain't got no knowledge? I mean,
no, I'm not saying it, but
dude, I'm just trolling you, man.
Yeah,
I'm just
Without
messing
the
with
soft, without the filter, without
You
the
know I
soft,
know
without
that.
the soft voice, without the soft
I think-
They
voice.
say
Yeah,
gray
yeah.
hair comes with wisdom, but I don't have any hair, so I don't know if I'll ever get that wisdom.
But I think yeah, Marco don't have that soft SMV voice, and yeah, I appreciate it, Sigma. Yeah, y'all catch your soul providers later on. Appreciate having you on, Sigma.
Sigma, peace, brother, peace. Yeah, so I just go ahead, but let me ask you, Savage. You mentioned that you wish you would have gotten the device, but did you get any advice and did you choose to ignore it? Because I mean, when I was in school, they told us and to be just completely open and clear, when we were 12, 13, something like that, we were shown in health class that the birth and all the venereal diseases, and that freaked me the hell out. To this day, I cannot look at a pregnant woman because they disgust me. I get away from them. I think they're gonna start leaking all kinds of pus. They fucking disgust me. I get away from them. So, and of course, you know what I felt when I see when I always see those images of fucking pepperoni pee-pee, you know what I'm saying? They look like a jacked up freaking Wiener Schnitzel. Like, I don't want none of that. So it freaked me out. So I'm sure, I don't know, perhaps you saw that as well. So we've been all warned, as they say.
Well, it's a little bit of both. I didn't graduate high school. I was a bad kid. I did a lot of drugs, so like I was being risky. So like, what's the point of wearing condoms if I'm shooting heroin? So yeah. Long story short, I was taking risk in life, so I decided, why not take risks with my penis?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Risks. You're right.
And let's be honest though, like not having sex without a condom feels way better. So like there's that.
But
I would not. Oh my God.
You know what my whole thing with the condom was? It was two things. Like I said, the first one is I watched too many people in my family and in my neighborhood who didn't use them, and that terrified me. The other thing was I'm not even gonna bullshit. I'm straight up selfish.
Yeah.
I'm straight up selfish. I like myself way too much. I like myself way more than having to deal with that. That's what I'm saying. The kids that I have, those kids were by choice. They were planned. That's what I wanted. And they were only with the women that I married, literally married, not some chick who was just a side piece or I was dating for a long time and it happened. I'm just selfish like that. Real is real kept. So I'm not even gonna bullshit.
That's cool and all, but my dad was married 5 times.
Damn.
So like I really didn't have like a good outlook on marriage, and on top of it, like I was born 89, so a lot of the marriage is a sham, and women can have sex with whoever, and a lot of that feminist bullshit that gets pushed down on us happens. And I really didn't become a man until I was like 26, so I had years of not being a man. So I just, heroin makes you feel good. So I was doing I like to do things that make me feel good. So I just was being irresponsible. That's all.
All right. And yeah, I mean, golly, I have to admit here, man, for this small location, and man, we had so many pregnancies at an early age. Yeah, there's no way I could deal with these treacherous ass motherfuckers without some type of protection. I mean, these brothers are just reckless, and I think a lot of these dudes, they didn't care, and they get into emotions so much that they let them hoes talk them into that mess. So I couldn't let that shit happen like that, but some dudes did.
Yeah, and then, like I said, and it works both ways. That's why I keep saying every time Marco says put on a condom, I always end it with and take it with you when you're done.
Yeah,
because I have known chicks who have gone through the trash to get it and then try to take out what's in it to do what they got to do.
Yeah.
And I know, and I know we all know those stories.
Fuck their plumbing, flush it.
Yeah, you can do
you
that
got
too.
to.
But there are times, and I've had this happen to me. There are times that I flushed it and it hasn't gone down.
Well, you better stay and make sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But listen, with all that toilet water and all that bullshit and bacteria that's in there, if that lady really wants that semen that much, she can have it. Like she can have every bit of it.
I don't want to have none of it. I'm gonna make sure. Because I'm gonna be honest, man. Some of these bras are so nuts. I wouldn't put anything past them, man.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about chicks using turkey basters, man. I mean,
Yeah,
come on,
yeah,
dude.
that was Boris Becker. That was Boris Becker. Yes, Boris Becker.
Yeah.
With
Yep.
the turkey baster.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, but I
and one more point.
And let's not forget real quick. Savage just did a video on it yesterday or the day before, where they got a website where you can get fake pregnancy result tests and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, I put it in the chat for you.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is you like if you go on Google and type in how to fake a pregnancy test, you literally could take a pregnancy test and put it in Diet Coke, and it comes up positive. So like these people are paying like $20 for them to ship them a positive pregnancy test is like just stupid. Like it's stupid. You can cheat a pregnancy test easily.
Dang. And also on the condom aspect, to Marco's point, I don't know if I heard anybody say it specifically to this point. Don't ever take one from these hoes.
Oh no, you're right.
Bring them home.
I meant to say that too, and I forgot about it. Yeah, you
don't
absolutely
ever
right,
take one. I mean, there's stories about them poking pinholes in them and everything.
Yep.
So bring your own.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also when to what Savage said, I'm not even like even as far as you said they're going to fake a pregnancy test. If you're to the point that you doubt yourself whether you got this whole pregnant or not, you've already lost.
Ooh, yeah.
You already lost.
Yeah.
Because you can't be in that situation. So to my point was I have peace of mind because I am not in that situation, because at no point is there any situation, any moment in which I can put myself in the in that she could, some of my sperm could be in her.
And let me add to this. This is a real hard one. Sometimes, and I don't always do it, but you should pull out with the condom on, because if a condom is going to break, guess when it's going to break?
When it's in there.
Yep.
Right when you about to go is when it's going to break. So if suppose you was having good sex with a chick the whole time with the condom on, and then right when you was about to finish up, that's when the condom broke. And what was the point of the condom?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I know that's a hard one, but I'm just saying, if you really want to be airtight, because let me tell you, some of these chicks, they purposely want to get rubbed, they purposely want to wiggle a certain way, do all kinds of little tricks. They're trying to break the condom in some cases.
Yeah.
They trying to do something to get you to take it off and go in them wrong.
And
that's impossible for me. But
I'm just saying, but they trying. Yeah,
I know. You're right.
And that's why I'm the ultimate genius. I got snipped. I don't deal with them. Even if I chose to, I have a condom on top of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. To protect from the health issues for yourself.
Exactly. And like I said, I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm very selfish. I'm a very selfish person. I'm not gonna deny it. I'm selfish about bringing in children that I don't want. I'm selfish about my health and trusting some other chick to be truthful about hers. Nah, man, I'm not taking that chance. So I never did.
Yeah.
I never did.
And that, that's another point too. I mean, you have to be selfish in dealing with them, because the manipulation is the basic nature for a woman. So you have to be selfish to override that manipulation. By not doing it, you allow yourself to be a toy for them. You allowed yourself to be their plaything, instead of being the other way around.
And that's why I said what I just did about me, because I want brothers to understand. You go out and you get a vasectomy. That does not mean you can go raw dog. It doesn't. You still need to wear that hat.
That's
you still
the
need
other
to wear
one.
the hat, because if it's not about pregnancy, it's going to be about something else. Really, it's going to be she gave you something. It's going to be that she claimed you did something to her when she was in agreement to it. You still wear that hat, man.
And to bring up a point that Woman of the Past put, actually, that's really responsible. It's not selfish. I mean, really.
Hey, protect yourself at all times, as they say when you get on the ring.
Yeah.
Protect yourself
Exactly.
at all times.
It is responsible, not selfish. True.
No, well, yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
It is.
Yeah. But that's why I don't have a whole bunch of kids. Where you see most dudes my age who got like 6, 7, 8 kids. I was just never into that, man. I saw too much shit growing up, and I was like, nah, no.
And let me tell you something.
I had places to go, people to see, things to do. I wasn't trying to get caught like that. No.
How old are you, Lawrence?
Say again.
How old are you, Lawrence?
Coming up on 54.
Okay, so I got 22 years to get 4 more kids.
Well, see, that's the scary part because my cousin William is 55. He's got 9.
Damn.
Okay,
and a lot of brothers my age, like I said, they have those kind of numbers, 6 and up.
that's too rich for my blood. 9's too many.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna be honest. It's about 1 or 2 in my age range that I know they're in the teens.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's
that's crazy. I mean, that ain't even got nothing to do with pussy. That's just you being fucked up mentally. That you think that's some shit you want to keep dragging your life down by adding more suffering.
Hey, watch this, and not only that, because it is multiple women, it shows how they don't care either. So you have to care yourself.
And that's my point. They're never going to care because they're all out to play that game. But that comes back to what Logic and I was talking about with that discipline, because see, that was one of the things all my friends always used to talk about with me, because they would look at me and they admire me, and I was like, for what? And they said, yo, pussy gets thrown at you damn near everywhere you go, but yet you don't play the game. And I'm like, why would I? And they're like, well, I mean, yo, that's a lot of ass. I don't work off ass. I don't. Like I said before, pussy's not a currency in my kingdom. So it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, man.
You know, and that's the mentality that I want men to have. I want them to have that same mentality. It's like I said before, I don't hate pussy. I just don't need it.
And let me add this, man. Let me tell you something. When you get like, I'm almost 40, so when you get past a certain wave, you know, you go through this moment where you're like, man, it'd be nice to have some kids, and you get that tug like, I want to have kids. But once you get right around where I'm at right now,
yeah, me
you
too.
don't have kids, it's a great feeling. I feel. Let me tell you something, man. It's like my mind is at a certain place right now where my freedom, my mental, and not having no children, not having no wife, I wish I could just articulate the feeling I have to younger men. And I know guys want families and they're gonna buy into this thing, but I'm look, all I can say is, look, if you want to have a family, just understand exactly what you're getting into. Don't fall for the illusion. Go in knowing exactly what you're buying into. And if you still want it after you know exactly what it is, that's fine. But don't fall for the illusion that it's going to be something that is impossible in this society and culture. Because a lot of dudes want families because they're believing the illusion. Mm-hmm. Not that they're looking at the reality that he's a woman that, you know, bruh, it's like, if you ain't comfortable with all the risks and potentials that's going to lead to, especially in the environment and in the culture where women have this kind of legal authority with their children and all that. If you cool with that, do you? But don't fall for the illusion that these women are going to sell you.
Yep,
because that's not realistic.
And I'll go you one better. I'll make an offer. If you think that you really want to do this and you want to have kids, let me buy you a plane ticket to go visit my cousin William, and you can spend some time with him.
They can come spend a week with me.
You know what I'm saying?
And to bring up a point, I just put in the chat. Okay, guys, let's do the math. If one kid until the age of 18 to 21 is 6 figures in a lifetime, imagine more than one, especially 9. There's millions of dollars at the end of the day. Here is the thing. With this shit going on, usually it ain't the baby daddy that's pocketing that money. Putting out that money.
That's right.
It is the all of American society in Texas and these side piece fools that they done roped in and reeled in into thinking that they actually matter, when the only thing they did was use them as a sponsorship for their lifestyle.
Yep.
So fun fact. So 15% of the time women have to pay child support to the father. 85% of the time, men have to pay child support to the mother. Out of the 15% of women that pay child support, 7% don't pay child support. Out of the 85% of men that pay child support, 15% don't pay child support. So there you go.
Yep. And those are actual stats.
Wow.
Because I've seen them somewhere. I can't remember where. But those are actual stats.
God, that's crazy. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And the stats get even more twisted when you start calculating who actually goes to jail for failure to pay and who doesn't.
Oh, well, you. Hey, look, I don't even need to look at the stats for that. Yeah. You know who's going. You know who's, and I have actually seen dudes at Dodge, and when they're gonna find you now. They're gonna find you. And they're gonna catch you. And whenever they do, and you dodging, and you look up, you done worked all this time, and your check $7.
Back child support.
Yes, sir.
And as a matter of fact, the trick is before they let you know on child support, they'll let a year go by right out the gate, so you're already in the negative before they contact you.
So they can hit you.
And in addition to that, the other purpose of doing that is because it runs out the clock. Because the vast majority of states in the country only give you 1 year to dispute it. But if you don't know that somebody's got you on child support and the time has run out, because that's how it is. You have to establish paternity or lack of paternity within the first year of that child's birth. If you don't, then you're just stuck with it. So that's their thing. They run out the clock before letting you know that you have this issue. So you don't have enough time to do the DNA test as well as build up arrears on you right out the gate.
Right. Well, they also they get interest off your arrears.
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, if you think about it, it's getting paid twice because they're getting the interest off the arrears. Plus, there's an additional aspect added onto it that people don't know, because the originating state is one thing. If you lived in another state, the state that's collecting on behalf of that originating state where you're living gets a cut of it too. So let's say your original order is from North Carolina, but you live like me in Florida. Okay, North Carolina is going to get their money, but Florida is, because you live under their jurisdiction and they're collecting on behalf of North Carolina, they're going to get their cut too. Especially if they drag you into the courthouse and let's say you're not paying, they're going to ask you for a $500 purge payment. Guess where that goes? You see what I'm saying? The mafia would be proud.
Not even that, but the federal government gives the state dollar per dollar.
Yes, that's correct. And that's where the judges and stuff are getting paid from. And the other thing that people don't realize is that 9 times out of 10, when you're called into court, you're not actually in court. You're sitting in front of a magistrate who has no judicial authority or powers. You see what I'm saying? And it's not even a real courtroom. It's in the courthouse, but it's not technically a courtroom. And that's what a lot of brothers don't realize. You can actually push it and say, I don't recognize your authority. I want to speak to a judge. Just make sure you have your shit straight to challenge it. But the vast majority of men who sit before somebody, it's never a judge. It's just a magistrate. Somebody who just got put in that position. Not even elected, just put in that position.
And you know what's crazy? Just from a man who signed a lot of contracts in my life, just knowing the law alone is enough for me not to do that. Just from somebody who signed contract. You see all these hidden clauses, like what Lawrence was mentioning about if it goes longer than a year and you didn't establish paternity and all this stuff. It's all of these default judgments and things that are happening. Where it's just not. It's a trap, and it's like this is not the kind of environment that men need to be having children in. And I know people will say, "What about the world?" I'm like, man, we got bigger problems about the world right now. It's more than enough kids right now that are running around without viable parents. We got a lot of issues, and the fool is going to always keep having children. So the world is not going to run out of kids.
Yeah, and to go to something Jerome Whiteside just said in the chat about dudes on child support thanking God for COVID. Nah, man, that didn't do shit.
No.
Dudes on child support are still held accountable for it. And in addition, if you were going to get a stimulus check, they're the only people that they held the money from to go to child support. Everybody else, whether they own debt like college or et cetera and so on, still got their money. So no,
Yeah.
COVID didn't do shit, bro.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Yeah, COVID didn't stop anything for child support, and also child support does come out of your unemployment because it's through the state. Yep. So the state's giving you that money, so they automatically know how much money you're getting, so they still take their cut.
Yep.
And if you're paying, say you're paying $600 a month for child support, and you go on unemployment, you're still going to have to pay that $600, but you have the ability to pay $50 and go file to get your stuff reassessed. But you have to still pay the same amount while you wait for it to go through the court process.
Crazy, man.
And to another point, we talked about the condoms and all that and protecting yourself from diseases as well as the pregnancy. On the pregnancy end, I'm going to tell this for all you niggas that are married or you got girlfriends and she come up pregnant, get that test done any damn way. I don't care what she say about you the only one. It's too many cases.
1/3 of all.
Yes, at least.
At least. And those are the ones who get tested.
Yes. It's too many cases of dudes finding out later in life when they have health issues that they actually cannot have kids and they stuck paying for children that are not theirs.
Yep. Got it. And I'm not sure, but I think Savage, you might have did a video on it. I might be thinking about somebody else. But had 3 dudes on the news, man. One of them was a pastor. Found out all his kids were not his except for one.
I saw that. But you
look at the pain on that man's face. I mean, the absolute pain. And that's what I'm saying. And you best do it now. Get those DNA tests done. Because if they're going to try and copy what's going on in France and Australia and the rest of them, it's going to come to the point where they're going to pass laws that you can't get it without the permission of the mother. And you know she ain't going to give that.
Which is
you
crazy.
know she's not going to give that. She's not going to give it.
So statistically, 1 out of every 3 children that's tested for paternity is not the paternity of the man that's tested. But at the same time, if you go down to child support, I kind of lightweight don't feel that child support's gonna say that you're not I really don't feel that child support's gonna say you're not the father because it's in their interest to tell you that it's your kid. So always get an outside DNA test.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh no, never go. No, dude, never go with court assessed. No, always get outside. Always. Because they're going to fudge those numbers just to make it happen, my dude. Yeah. They'll lie to you straight out your face and give you phony papers for real.
Yeah.
Because that's their job. Their job is to find a sucker to get money from. That's their job. Because like I said, it's getting the money from them to keep the machine turning. And then as Savage already stated, they also get money back for doing it. So for every dollar they collect, they get, I think it's $2 back. Or something like that. It might depend on the state, but yeah. So they have a vested interest in being deceitful. I mean, seriously, they do.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they need somebody. They need somebody to front paying the economy for these hoes. Zero says it all the time. I mean, it costs. Welfare costs, and everybody only thinks of it in the sense of with the child and and all this stuff, but in general, all the other privileges that they get to it costs. Right. So they need somebody to pay for this shit.
And you also have to take in consideration that more and more men are waking up and they're asking for those DNA tests. More and more men are walking away and not getting involved in relationships, yada yada. That's why they're pushing even more so than they used to about a bachelor tax, because they gonna make niggas pay for these broads regardless.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
That's their game plan. If they can't get a dude on the hook, they'll get all men on the hook, because that's just more taxes to add on to us.
Crazy, man.
And then, like I said, if I'm wrong, somebody tell me, but I don't think I am.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's the agenda, man. But it's crazy, bro. Because they let women run wild because women will create a society where the government can take a power grab.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the other thing is too, you have to think also is that a lot of these guys and a lot of these officials, whatever you want, these politicians, smoke blowers, they're in position. They want to stay in and get that money for just being there. I mean, that's their livelihood. So they're gonna stay in there. They're gonna do what I mean, because women have the government by the balls anyway.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, I'm gonna stay in here and make this money off of this shit.
But let me,
Because if I don't do what they want, they're gonna get my ass out of here anyway.
Yeah. And I want to say something for the chat. Because I said it on Agon's the other day. And I want to make sure I get it right. Because I was very serious when I said this. In the full scheme of things, as a species, of any species on this planet, give me one who the females are literally in existence for nothing other than to, how did I put it? The human female species is the only species that will sell themselves and their children out to achieve something that's absolutely detrimental to their existence. They're the only ones. You can't give me any other female species on this planet that's like that.
Right.
They will sell themselves out, prostitute, yada yada yada, for the sake of trying to get a man to take care of them. They will diminish their sons in the attempt to keep them holding on to replace the man that they were never able to get. And they'll pimp out their daughters to get a man who's of high quality because they can live off their daughter. There is no other female species on this planet who does that. They are absolutely detrimental to their own existence. Period.
You know what? MOT did a video, and I can't remember which one, but it explained how these feminist ran societies, golly, they are so similar to hyena culture. The only difference is they're so similar to hyena culture.
Oh yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
The only difference is that the females are actually larger, than the males. Yeah. But golly, and the males have no way of actually truly advancing in rank or status.
That's the only one you're gonna find that comes.
I think one more is bonobos.
Who?
Bonobos. They're a member of the ape family, but it's the only one where the women actually literally just beat the crap out of the dudes for dominance.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They make them trade to get some. They actually literally do.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's a new one for me.
Male ones trade to get some. Yes.
That's a new one for me. I didn't know that. Thank you for that.
So those two are the only ones, and I think but the bonobo thing, they're isolated from other societies and species of other apes. And also, I think the females are pretty large there too. So,
wow.
So yeah.
So I guess the question becomes that being their nature and their instinct, as opposed to a human female who can make a choice. So,
well, the thing is, she can make a choice, but the thing is, she's always going to choose the selfish route. If it's
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I don't know. I guess it's similar. I mean, because with the males, if the males, of those two species I brought up, if they like, no, forget this, we gonna tear y'all up. I don't care how big y'all, but we gonna tear y'all up. Yeah, it would change.
To be honest with you, I don't know. It was just a question I posed. I posed a question because I don't know. To be honest with you, it was just
Omega Dreads. That is too true.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Every last dude up here with no children are paying for other people's kids. No doubt. You're father by default. Yeah. That's all that is. That's all that is. But yeah, man. Like I said, that's just how it is.
Yeah. It is.
But yeah, man, like I'm with Marco, and I've said it before myself, and I failed at it my damn self. Just not talking about women anymore. They don't matter, and if they don't matter, why are we still talking about
it? because I said it before. That's why 99% of these motherfuckers are here to do just that.
I mean, we literally sat here for almost 3 hours, supposed to be talking about scripture. But we ended
Yeah,
up talking
or at
about-
least 2 hours of it. It has been on pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got that.
And like I said, like I said, as New pointed out to me earlier, yeah, I did the same damn thing. Just 48 hours ago, I said I wasn't talking about it anymore. And boom, here I am. So, I'm being honest, man. I'm being
Yeah,
honest.
man.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you got that.
Because no matter what conversation we have, somehow it always leads back to this, and it shouldn't.
Yeah.
I saw that. I knew it's stupid.
It does,
Scripture leads
but
back.
to be honest, though, it does because you got to think how religion has been changed and twisted to benefit their own desires.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, what's that next one? Oh, ICE. Excuse me, Lawrence, for asking. Was your last wife a black? My first wife was white from the South. We met in the military. My second wife is black, and she's from Trinidad, Tobago.
So I would like to see how this bachelor tax would be implemented, because technically if you have kids and you have baby moms, you're technically still a bachelor if you're not married. Or if you just have a girlfriend and you're not married.
Well, don't we already have something like that? Because I feel that, given that when I pay my taxes, given that I'm not I can access some of the tax cuts like married and this and that. I think already getting taxed for not being married.
Oh no,
I think it's already imposed.
No, they about to come around and add another.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm already paying bachelor taxes because again I can't access other breaks, even though I contribute. I argue more than some of the freaking couples that I see because they take in more than, because I don't use practically any of the services.
Yeah, you're gonna pay more already for being single, but I think that you being a man, I think it would be a male specific tax that you would have to pay more if you didn't have any kids or you weren't married.
Damn it,
Okay,
Zero.
okay, Zero. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, all the conversations lead back to sex and relationships because you can't have a society without it. To think you can avoid it is not feasible and mentally dishonest. That's why it winds back to it. True. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw that before you put it up. I was actually sitting here pondering it.
Oh,
Literally.
Well,
that's wrong zone. But to point out his Zero, what he always says, pussy is undefeated.
Yeah. Even in conversation. even in freaking conversation. That's tragic. That's just damn tragic.
I try not to talk about it because
Yeah, I know it.
I look at it. I mean, Hulk said he said they're like toys. I think it's more like tools. And I've said this analogy before. Yeah. It's like I don't think about the toilet paper until I go take a shit.
Yeah.
So the same thing. I don't think about the hole until I want to fuck. Excuse my language. But I don't think about it. Go ahead.
Sorry, my bad. I mean, I thought you stopped. Go ahead.
No, that's not. I was just saying that it's something that only is used as needed. So you just don't think about. I don't think of my antifreeze coolant or my jack in the back of my car unless I'm going to change a flat.
Right.
Just no. Right.
So you guys that have channels, are you guys lately getting crazy amounts of crazy broads in your comment sections?
No, that's just you. I saw your video. Yeah, that's just you,
bro. A crazy onslaught of crazy broads in my comments.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they flooding the social media now. Mm-hmm. Don't have nothing to do with what they like.
And if we get another lockdown, it's going to be worse.
Yeah. So, well, I'm lucky that I'm gender fluid, so I don't have to deal with that.
So I literally got this chick named Sarah the Narcissist in my comment section, and like halfway through the comment section, she changed her name to Ebony and Ivory, and like pretty much she just like went in on me for being white and telling me that like she could have me if she won me and shit. Like these women are fucking deranged. They are deranged.
Yeah, man. They just looking to hunt any types of flood any channel that has a semblance of masculinity on it. They're trying to just silence men, I guess, or censor us. Because when they come to your channel, they're bringing that algorithm crap.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Like literally, I don't even know what the video was. I don't even know what video she was commenting on, but it pretty much was. Oh yeah, it was. I have a confession. Where she commented on one of my videos, and I made a video making fun of her, and like it just was like, yeah, well, you're white and low value, and you scribbled on your face, and I could have you, and white privilege, and black women are unprotected, and I'm like, lady, pick your topic here.
Yeah, but that's what they do, and we saw that weeks ago, man. When I was up there, and you got the chick who started calling me an Eisen misogynist, just because.
And I told her I would told her that technically I would be a supremacist just for the simple fact I understand that all human beings aren't equal.
Yeah,
Equality between those who have power and those who don't.
Yeah, and for me, she got upset when you broke it down for her that I don't engage with women. So,
yeah,
and again, it proves my point. You know what I'm saying? Ignoring them cuts them deep. It cuts them deep.
Misogyny is dope.
It is. It is. It totally is.
Oh man!
And I know tonight MOT is doing a thing at 10 o'clock, and that's going to be interesting because I think it's going to be one of the first times we have a hard line disagreement with each other.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Because if you look at the
what's the title?
Yeah, I'm looking for it now. It was something about we have to stop lying about how the gender war is over. And that's totally contrary to me. I just said last night the shit was done. We lost. It's over. That's my perspective.
Well, I think the thing is that it's in a sense it's true because it's never going to end. Because of what Zero said, everything is going. All road leads back to it because of.
Well, yeah. You're right. If you're coming from it from that perspective, it's never going to end.
Right.
I just meant in the sense of men trying to constantly appease these broads. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, that shit ain't over either.
Well, then that's what I'm saying. To me, it's over. There's nothing to appease. They already told you that you're not shit. It ain't worth nothing. So wrap it up and go home. Yeah,
but the thing is, how many times are you gonna see them still doing it?
Well, yeah, that's true. that's true.
But you know what it is. You know what
the funny part is? I always walk into that shit, Eisen.
I know.
Hey, every damn time.
Hey, listen to this, man. Women, as far as men who still have hope in women, that's over. But women have created their own new problems. See, women are now competing with the LGBT community. They're communicating with all these other people. That's their new enemy now. You know, like men who are vile, who just have a logical intelligence. We stepped away from this. Y'all can have it. We're done. You know, but they create their own enemy with the LGBT community because women are now competing with them.
Well, and I said that before too, and I'll stand by it again until the day I die. You can mass together and make a group all you want to, but they will always eat their own. Always. Because now you got Transformers fighting for the fact that they should have the same opportunities as a straight woman for getting straight men. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just crazy.
Hey, and here's the other thing too. Now, to be honest, you got some of them that done figured out it's the only way to get around them laws and the benefits they gave these women.
Oh yeah,
because whenever you identify as that, they can't question that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching transgender gay males or transgender gay females, or however you want to look at it, argue with black women about who's a bigger victim. It makes my
That's
day.
some funny shit. I've seen that. That is some funny ass shit.
You know, I've never seen it. I guess I have no interest in see. I guess the places I go to, I just don't have an interest. They don't usually have that on there, huh?
And you know when that really started, that started last year. an actress called Parker Posey had did an interview where she literally just called them out. They are not women. Stop calling them women, yada, yada, yada. And they were tight because a white woman wasn't co-signing. And that's when those conversations actually started getting heavy to where we are now. She kind of started that.
Hell,
Man.
I even love when transgender males or females argue with women at all because they're just trying to see who checks more boxes. Like it's like watching the Matrix explode.
Man, that's like a cokehead and a heroin addict arguing over who's the highest.
Mhm.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. And what you're getting when you see that, what you're getting to do is see the actual physical representation of any Twitter conversation. that's what you're seeing.
Mm.
That's what you're seeing because Twitter's a cesspool for that crap.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
to be honest, to be very very experienced in drugs, if the cokehead is just snoring the cocaine, he is already lost.
Mm-hmm.
You would lose 40% of it. You have to mainline that shit, man.
Yeah.
I see. I see that, Zero.
Yeah, to his point, you don't have to identify as a woman. You just have to identify as not a man. You can identify as a tractor so long as it's not a man. Mm.
That's
Yeah,
true.
mine. I identify as Jonah Deere, not a John Deere.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So we got a deer and a gender fluid up here. All right, we're
No.
checking all the boxes. We're good.
No, I'm a tractor with a female name.
Got you.
But again, we're checking all the boxes. We're good. So you can't say anything to us about isolating people on the panel. We let all people up.
Well, I feel insulted when I'm questioned that. I think it's unfair that I should be defined by anything. I know what I am and I know my truth, and it shouldn't be a concern of you.
Hey, speak your truth. Speak your truth. Speak your truth.
It really upsets me when people assume my race just because I have never seen any race that's green. So, like, I don't have a race. I'm a tractor.
All right. All right.
I've been struggling with my internal persona about being a Time Lord. I don't know how to express it properly, how to let people know the truth.
I don't think I should be pressured to identify myself. I don't think it's fair. I just don't
agree.
think it's fair. I feel that it's ridiculous, and I feel that it's offensive, and I feel that it's violence, and
Gotta beat the algorithm, folks.
I feel it's terrible. I
Yes.
feel violated whenever I'm asked those things. I know what I am. I know what I'm not. And it would always be in my truth and in my heart.
Yep, that's how you beat the algorithm, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that I shouldn't have to identify myself either. Nothing but hoes. I think that who I say I am is just enough, and I shouldn't have to go any further. It's who I am, and I feel assaulted whenever I have to go into those things as well.
Well, I mean,
I hope the IRS agrees with me when I file that I feel that I'm in the poverty level.
well, I mean, they still won't call me. They still won't call me Bruce Wayne, and I have issues with that. I do. I mean, that's my identifying factor. So, but hopefully one day we'll all be accepted for who we are in a proper world, and hopefully Joe Biden can make that happen.
I still think Joe Biden's going to be president, but I hope that I somehow can identify with someone that has a full head of hair. I do hope that that's possible in the future. I hope 2021 brings me a full head of hair.
Hey, best wishes to you in that wish. But all right, man, we're at the 3 hour, 8 minute mark. Man, I got to get ready for Soul Providers here. It's supposed to be about 2.5 hours, an hour and a half. No, not even that long, about an hour and a quarter.
Oh, that's right. You're on the panel, aren't you?
Yeah, I am on the panel.
Yeah.
Thanks for posting that in the chat zone. But so we're going to get ready to close out. I guess I'll start with you, Savage. You got any closing words?
Yes. Don't trust these broads. And if she wants to dig the condom out of the toilet, let her have that bullshit.
All right. Spiritual.
Hey man, if you're going to serve a master, make sure it's yourself. If you have to choose between something in the world, don't serve the woman, don't serve the world, serve yourself, and ultimately that'll find you back to your creator.
All right. Marco.
Oh, I don't I don't really have anything like that, but I think what spiritual said, I only look to myself, and what also Lawrence said, which is I am selfish to the
Yeah.
highest degree, in which I don't look for a master or anything like that. I just truly look for my peace of mind, my well-being, and my happiness at all possible times. That's it, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank
Back to you
you.
soon. Peace.
Peace. Um, all right then. Lastly but not least, you know who you are, Lawrence.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, we just got to hit that point, man, where the discussions become less and less and less until no conversations about women at all.
Oh,
That's
but
just
that ain't gonna happen.
no. I know,
You
I know,
can't.
I know. But that's something that I have to deal with personally.
Yeah.
Um, but outside of that, man, same thing I always said, man. Just watch yourself, man. Protect yourself. Be careful.
Mhm.
That's all I got. Because like I said, it's gonna get worse. We haven't even seen the heavy part
Oh
yet.
yeah, I agree.
So
I agree. It is going to get worse.
and other than that, man, as always, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Barbershop Talk. I like to have these regularly around the same time every Sunday. Um, it's become a regular thing. I try and have something that everybody knows what time and they can expect it unless something emergencies rise up or whatever. I want to thank everyone for coming out and tuning in. I want to thank all the panel participants for all of your for all the facts and great information you brought for us today. And that's it. Peace, everybody.